That's it. People ain't got nothing to do with that.
I'm not. Right there. No, I didn't want. That's fine. That's fine.
Thank you. Thank you. Please slide in and make any open seats for someone else.
Good evening. Today is Tuesday, January 2nd, 2026. It is 7:38. We now call to order town council meeting for the historic town of Eatonville. King, can we verify quorum?
Yes, Councilwoman Randolph, Councilman Mack, Councilwoman Jordan here, Vice Mayor Thomas here, Mayor Crick
Present.
we have our four.
We are now ready for a moment of silence and a pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Prior to the approval of the agenda, we will finish the conversation from workshop. What we'll do is we'll let the remaining members of the council ask questions and speak, and then we will take additional questions or responses for report. Mr. Piper, Mr. Robinson, and Councilwoman Randolph, the floor is presumably yours.
Okay, back again. All right, thank you. We were talking about the properties. I just want to make sure I'm clear on one thing. When I had mentioned about what we're going to get out of it, it was meant to be, in other words, what is the town going to benefit? How are we going to benefit from this whole project? Yeah, I'm quite sure you've done your homework to come up with some reasons, analogy as to how the town would benefit. Being that the town is in the condition that it's in, a smaller town with 2,500, average of 2,500 residents, what will be an added bonus for the town to move on with these types of projects?
Well, Mr. Robinson mentioned earlier in the update, we talked about it back in January, that one of the first things that we invested in was the economic impact study. So we're getting through that. It's not completed, it's not ready for public consumption because we still have a lot of questions. But the objective is to understand what the possibilities are and what some of the challenges might be. For example, and Mr. Robinson mentioned earlier, the fact that we have to know what we do and when we do it. So we would go out and build some retail operation but there's not enough economic base to support it. So that's getting things out of sequence. So this economic impact study will help us and our advisory committee understand what we can do and cannot do, and what the timing is, because timing matters. And again, we talked earlier about the first thing we need to do is create a sense of place so that we can get people that want to come in and spend their money, leave their money in the town of Eatonville. That's our goal. So we don't have all the answers tonight because it's a work in progress.
Okay, that's an excellent, explanation, because we certainly in Eatonville do not want businesses to come here, and we don't have the economic impact for those businesses, and we want business to thrive. So we don't want to overdo too much, and we don't want to undo. We don't want to have it just right for the community.
Yeah, we have to work in partnership. We have to
Yes.
make this work, because there's some things that we cannot control. Dr. Stokes chairs cannot control. How do we work together to increase the average household income? How do we work together to increase the percentage of residents of houses that are owner occupied? Right now, Eatonville is running about less than 25% owner occupied housing. In most communities, that's considered very unstable. We have to figure out how to increase that number so that more people that live here own here and are committed to this community. But that's the base of all this. No matter what we build, if we don't fix the base, it won't sustain itself.
All right, right now, I don't have any more questions. I may have one some later on, but right now, thank you very much and appreciate your time, your effort.
Appreciate you and your questions. I think the more questions I ask, the better the community is informed about what's going on.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Mr. President.
Rob.
For coming.
We haven't had the chance to meet you yet.
Definitely.
Pleasure to meet you.
I just have a few questions. Basically, they're already been answered by some of the questions Ms. Randolph had asked. One of my concerns is, I know that before all this, before you guys acquired the property, there was a promise from Orange County for a museum in Eatonville. Can we still consider that possibility on this property? I think that's a good thing for Eatonville. That's just.
Yeah, I think we have every intention to work with the town to come up with the best use of the land is. And if a museum is one of those best uses at the right time, and we find the right support of the funders, that we can build something that's sustainable, financially sustainable, I mean, we're all for it.
Okay.
You know, I was involved with the effort of the town several years ago to try to get some money from the state. That was when the state was looking for a designated location for a history museum. And so I remember what Orange County committed to trying to support the project.
And so my other question would be, and I know you're mentioning the revenue. So from the development of this property and with this new property tax bill that just passed, what would be a projected probably tax revenue for the town of
A
Eatonville?
long ways away from that.
What?
I figured that one, but
The bill
still.
that was supposed to allow something on the ballot later this year for the public to vote on, and you need 60% voters to vote in favor of it before it's passed. And you're asking us what the projections are?
I don't think, well, see, I know you wouldn't have the answer, but that make sure, if you can, make sure that's part of
Well,
the tax.
this,
Which portion of it would you want to be?
Well, with the, how did they say what is it? Homestead exemption now is
Yes, ma'am.
150,
on the residential piece.
right? So for 2028, possibly up to 250. So for the town of Eatonville, that's like, so that would be a concern of mine.
Yeah, what we would do if that goes forward, we'll work with the group that's doing the economic impact study. And that's what they do for a living all over the country.
Okay,
They do projections of impact on not only property taxes, but sales taxes and anything else that can get back to the municipality and support what you're doing in town.
okay. And this is more or less a statement and not a question. So for this council, being new on the council, but still knowing the council members, your advisory board, in order to give respect and earn respect and trust, they have to, come and badger and, you know, say you this, you that, or I'm gonna hold you accountable. I'm gonna hold you accountable too, because now you're on the board, but your advisory board, if they could give this council, the entire council and the staff, a little bit more respect, you know, I think it would work well, but you know, it's hard to work with someone that don't respect you and then do disrespect quite a few members on the board. I think, you know, that's my comment for that group.
Okay, good, but I would apologize. for-
It's no apology needed, but that, if you could work with them, and I'm sure you have. So, you know,
Well, part of the process that we've been going through is to make sure that the advisory committee is informed and educated about the development process. Because it'll be difficult for a group of people with come from different backgrounds to come together and speak with one voice if they don't speak the same language. So one of the things I give credit to the committee chairperson on is taking the time, and the committee members investing time in working on learning and just earning all that information. So it's a process, and in the plan, there is a plan for the advisory committee to spend more time directly with town council members and other community members. But again, because we haven't gotten to that point to let you know that, that's why we're here tonight, just to let you know that we have all these plans and we will do a much better job of making sure that every council member is informed.
that kind of sort of answered my question, but I'm more so directing this towards your advisory board with their disrespect, their rudeness at the council. So that's what I would really like for you guys to really work on. I think
We
that
will.
would be something that's needs to be worked
The
on.
chairperson will work on that.
You're
Okay.
working now?
I'm comfortable with that.
Say something.
He can stay because my question is directed at Chairperson Maroon. I am new to this council, but I did sit in the audience. I actually even spoke at that January 20th meeting. I've watched it 3 times just to see exactly what was said and what was not said, what was implied, what was left for interpretation. And I have 4 pages of notes. So thank you for taking some accountability and acknowledging the very real feelings of this council and committing to moving forward in a collaborative approach. I think that's all that the council is pretty much looking for. I do like the idea of potentially a liaison to talk back and forth with the council. I know that we are restricted by Florida Sunshine laws that might make it difficult to have collective conversations outside of this dais. I do remember it being said by members of this council that they did not want individual meetings, that they did want a collective meeting. So thank you for honoring that request. But I am hearing tonight that a few of these members would like more individual time, and I am amenable to that if that will allow us to be productive. I do have one question, and that piggybacks off of Vice Mayor. I would like to know, Dr. Maroon, if you can tell me what future conversations and updates with both residents and the council, what they look like. I know we have historically and traditionally had stakeholder meetings that I've been in attendance at in the past, and I think that those are a good channel by which communications can continuously happen with the residents. But can you talk about what the intent of the advisory committee is, or Dr. Phillips Sherry's is, as it relates to those communications with both the council and the residents going forward?
So the hope for the communication with the town council is that we are communicating with you at your invitation. And so when you ask me to come, you'd like me to come for every meeting and provide an update, I will do that. If you would like me to come every other month, I will also do that. If you would like for me to meet with you individually, I will do that. The key here is I just need clear direction from the council. When would you like to meet? I will be there, right? So that's to the council. To the community. As an advisory committee, our goal over this next season is that regardless of temperatures, that we are going to be engaging where people already are. I personally have been part of different initiatives in Eatonville since 2016. That's not a really long time, but it's some time. And one thing that I know from having been a part of initiatives since 2016 is we often ask community members to go out of their way to come somewhere to get information. We will have workshops, we will have town halls, we will have those engagement opportunities, but it's also really important for us to just come to what is already happening. And so over the summer, you're going to start to see committee members coming and participating in different community events, just being present, right? Because that's where trust begins. It's not us coming and just telling you something, it's us being present and participating alongside you. We will also be starting in June, we'll be just coming to different meetings that are already happening. I have reached out to the chief administrative officer and asked if we can come and attend the seniors club. I have reached out to folks who run neighborhood associations. Hey, can I just have 15-20 minutes of your time? And so that's going to be our step one process. It's not about, a lot of fancy, and then there's a big giant meeting, and, those things will happen, they will come. But it's really important as we start out of the gate to just be showing up where people already want to be, where they already want to spend their time. And our posture out of the gate is a listening posture. That's our job as a committee out of the gate, is to be where community is and to listen.
Thank you.
I think that he's probably one of the better things to have their liaison come in. I guess I'm taking that up to you. Come in here, I guess, maybe monthly or every meeting that we have, and kind of give us an update on what's going on. That would satisfy the need of me. That way we can get engaged with the community, because it's going to be in a public setting. That way they can get the information. And like I said before, I advise anybody that lives in this community to be more engaged in community meetings. You know what I'm saying? If you really want to know what's going on, come to the meetings. You know what I'm saying? It really helps. So I got a great appreciation for you guys coming here and giving your presentation. Do I feel somewhat better? Not really, but I know where we can get to a better place, while we look out for the betterment of our community, right? So with that being said, I would definitely welcome her to come every meeting to give us an update on what's going on with the Dr. Phillips Foundation. That way we can be ahead of everything that's in front of us.
Councilwoman Randall?
Yeah, a couple more questions. Can you tell me approximately time frame that the infrastructure is going to take place as far as doing something on that property?
So the timeframe for the infrastructure is what we want. We'll obviously have to start first, right? You got to plant your seeds nice and deep so they grow. And that was what we were hoping to start in October. We're probably not going to hit that. I mean, we had to come for approvals and submissions and some other things that'll take place. And we have to have a final plan, and we don't have a final plan as of yet. So ideally, even with the CPS says that from the date we close, mid-March, we fully intend to close. I'm sorry, thank you. We missed it. Again, mid-August is the date we're supposed to close. That from that point, we have 2 years to complete it. We fully intend to do it as quickly as possible. We think that that's important for the residents of Eatonville to see progress.
Okay. Next, I'm almost done. Okay. Do we have enough money for the project?
Do we have the fund?
Yes.
I will say what I have said many times.
Okay.
Dr. Phillips Charities will need partners and partnership to make this work. There'll be a number of partners that have to come to the table. And one of the things that we've committed to, that any partner that comes to this project is coming for impact reasons only, not profit. So we're working very hard to identify partners that have money to invest. And that could be some foundations, some individuals, and even Orange County, with some possibly using some of the TDT money. So we're looking at every opportunity to bring partners to the table to get this done. This is not a solo project where Dr. Phillips Charities does it on its own.
So what's your anticipated project I mean, the cost gonna be what, maybe a couple $1 million could be. I don't know. I'm not a developer. I'm just guessing.
I will tell you this, that just to do the civil engineering before you move here, it's over $1 million. So this is an expensive project.
Yeah.
And so this, by the time it's said and done, it'll be a few $100 million, it could be $100 million.
Yeah.
Certainly, Dr. Phillips has the capacity and desire, our board has expressed that desire to get this project initiated, moving forward. We can do the infrastructure ourselves, but to make it great, to get the world-class program that we think that the town of Eatonville deserves, we want to have other people come alongside us. And we've made great strides in finding some of those partners.
So
Okay.
as chairman of the board, one of the things that the board has been very clear about with the team is that we have to do everything we can to get other people's money
Yeah.
invested.
Yeah, okay, that's the reason I asked that question, okay. My last question is this, I hope this is not out of order. I noticed that by reading, that Dr. Phillips, you all are donating $1.5 million to the Packing District for the pavilion, is that a project?
No, that's a project that we did when we built the packing district.
Okay.
So within it, we donated land to the city of Orlando, designed to the city of Orlando, infrastructure design, a lot like we're doing right here, to the city of Orlando, and money to build the pavilion. And so we designed the pavilion, worked with a contractor, so it shows as a donation, but we controlled the process.
Okay, now what would you do for Eatonville,
That's-
if anything?
No, it's working quite a bit, and our commitment is that there will be infrastructure, there will be a park, and there will be a pavilion, and it will happen within 2 years of closing. Our goal is to make it quicker.
Okay.
But just a reminder again, to make this work, it's gonna require us working together to find partners that invest. And we can clear the path so we can get this done. This is not gonna be easy, but easy and hard, hard to compare us. So we're looking forward to working with the council and the staff, more importantly, because the staff is, as we talk right now, is working on all this infrastructure project from the grants that you've gotten over the past few years. So our team and the staff have been working, meeting for months now to make sure that whatever the staff is doing and designing for the town, it aligns with things that we're projecting to do on this property.
Last question, when does the developers agreement, what stage is that? Once, when you close on the property, or how does that work?
But we certainly won't have any, when you say developers agreement, so that we answer it properly, what do you mean by the developers?
Yeah,
agreement?
what you do and what we gonna do, it's,
Well-
that type of agreement. I've seen those, I think I've seen 3 of those since I've been here on council with the apartments down on the far end.
Mhm.
So
I'm not
I wonder
sure what
what you
you're
all.
referring to.
So the town currently has codes that puts in place, right? That what can be built, how it can be built. We certainly intend to work within the lines of those codes. What happens with apartments and some of the other places that you're talking about is they probably wanted exceptions or variances to those. And so they had to come before you and ask for those exceptions and variances. I think that's probably what you're referring to.
We'll
I
ask the
could be wrong.
CEO, to explain that, please, Tara.
And to ask for
I think the question might be the developer agreement in a stage prior to submitting the site plan. So that is a long way away, because that's the steps of what you would see prior to this. Everything that Dr. Phillips is doing right now is trying to get to understanding how to develop their land privately. The code will then outline specific criteria that you as a board will review, as well as the planning board. But the developers agreement will be part of the process that your land development code already has.
All right, that's it. Thank you very much.
I do one question, that's it really. I would like to know, when can I expect an answer to my question in terms of, an addition, from the council and, getting someone on this advisory committee? When can I expect an answer? Yes, no, maybe?
You'll have an answer within 30 days.
Thank you.
I just got one thing. I know you guys are gonna be probably leaving out here after this, when we go through our meeting. I think it's important that, well, if you can, kind of, communicate with your committee that I'm having a cleanup day, and I think that would be something that would be a great initiative for them to come out and be engaged with, the community and helping out. Also, that's something that, if they subject they want to do. I just want to put that out there. It's gonna actually be this Saturday at 9 a.m. to 1. And we're gonna be right here at Town Hall, and we're gonna be cleaning up community. We're gonna have our trash venue coming out and doing like a big loop and picking up all the big objects and things like that. So if they wanna come out and play a role in that, they're more happy to come out, and I definitely welcome them to come out while we can get more engaged with them also. If that's something that they wanna do.
Thanks for that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do we have anything else?
No, Mayor Council, I think we're good. Ms. Sarah Mahler is going to come back to you all with another workshop to follow up more, give you what the process is, and I think it'll give more clarity to this matter.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Prather, Mr. Robinson. We are now ready for the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
So, thank you.
It has been moved and second, all in favor of the approval of the agenda as written, signify by aye. Aye. All opposed? The agenda is approved. We are now ready for presentations and recognition. You do have one proclamation. Ms. King.
I'll yield to the mayor to read proclamations.
Tonight's proclamation is from Florida Water and Pollution Control Operators Association. And it reads, whereas the Florida Water and Pollution Control Operators Association, organized in 1940, is a nonprofit trade organization that promotes the sustainability of Florida's water utility industry through workforce development to protect the health of Florida's citizens and to preserve the state's water resources. And whereas this organization offers water and wastewater treatment plant operator and water distribution operator training courses required for the state of Florida's operator licenses, 8 voluntary certification programs and continuing education programs for operator license renewal. And whereas this organization, in recognizing the importance of Florida statutes and administrative code that regulate the water industry, acts as a liaison between the Florida Department of Environmental Protection and industry personnel. And whereas the Florida Water and Pollution Control Operators Association recognizes all who have played a significant part in operating and maintaining drinking water, wastewater, and stormwater systems in Florida by celebrating Florida Water Professionals Month, which applauds their constant efforts to protect our health and environment. Whereas water professionals are essential first responders as defined by Florida Statute 403.865B, during storms and other catastrophic events, working to ensure safe drinking water and safe disposal of wastewater for our communities. Now, therefore, I, Ruth Creighton, by the authority vested in me as mayor of the town of Eatonville, Florida, hereby proclaim August 2026 as Florida Water Professionals Month in the town of Eatonville and extend greetings and best wishes to all observing Florida Water Professionals Month on this second day of June 2026. Thank you to the Florida Water and Pollution Control Operators Association. We are now ready for citizen participation.
Yes, we have several. And the first one,
Okay.
Before we proceed with citizen participation, are any of those in reference to the items up for public hearing? Do we know?
none at this time.
If you are signed up for citizen participation and you do have comment regarding the 3 items for public hearing tonight, please be advised that there will be a public section for you to speak there. Feel free to save your 3 minutes for something that is not relative to that, and then to come back, we invite you to come back during the public hearing section to speak on those issues as well. We are ready for citizen participation.
Ryan Ovick.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, members of the community. On tonight's agenda, you have to add an interim attorney for the town council. the same individual that is your current counsel for the CRA board. And I would just like to speak out against that for a number of reasons, but namely, as we know, on the special meeting record, it was stated that at the direction of the CRA executive director, that is why the lawsuit was brought against the town itself. Now, while there's nothing wrong with that because the CRA attorney does take direction from staff and the executive director certainly falls under that, it certainly is an area that probably should have came before that board before approval. And if we think that there's a level of disrespect by people not coming before this board, I think a lawsuit not going before your CRA board is a level of disrespect that warrants some scrutiny. And if you install that same individual as your town attorney, how much longer until there's yet another direction from the CRA executive director to bring forth another lawsuit for whatever reason or purpose, causing a conflict of interest to where you'll have to seek outside counsel? But for that reason and that reason alone should warrant grounds to seek additional people or qualifications or others who may better serve the needs of the council and not the needs of an individual staff member at any moment in time. Thank you.
Jasmine Reese along, welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, community citizens. Thank you for the opportunity to again share about a wonderful community event that's taking place next week called Revive Zora. It's an amazing celebration of the life, legacy, and community that shaped the literary icon Zora Neale Hurston. And joining me is Sean Welcome, former City of Orlando poet laureate and also host for the event, who is going to give you a little bit more background on what's to expect.
Yeah, hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Sean Welcome, as stated earlier, and I'm the organizer for the nation's largest spoken word poetry festival that the nonprofit organization that I co-founded won the bid for 2 years ago. And so in shaping what that experience is going to be like for the poets coming in from around the country, from about 41 or so different cities, I thought it'd be an amazing idea to like kick off that festival, celebrating the literary legacy of Zora Neale Hurston through poetry, singing, dancing, African drumming, food, music, the whole nine, right? So it's going to be an amazing event in the Eatonville branch library. And so we just wanted to be really intentional about making sure that the people who lived here had an opportunity to hear about it, so that you all know like what's going on. And yeah, it's an amazing festival. You can go to southernfriedpoetryslam.com for the full festival schedule, but I thought it would be a real disservice to have a predominantly Black competition and not kick it off here in the town of Eatonville and educating our poets from around the nation on the significance of Zora Neale Hurston and the town of Eatonville. So it's just an open invitation, and just wanted to make sure y'all heard about it. So.
We have Pam Stanley.
Yes.
Gives her time in it. We have Michelle Ford. In which Pam Stanley has given her time. You have 5.
Thank you.
Okay, wait, go start the clock. All right, so happy Tuesday, everyone. I too feel like Ryan. There's a couple things that on this agenda I'm kind of surprised it was sent out. Starting with the attorney.
Attorneys who work for the town must protect public money. Attorney Jackson filed a lawsuit at the request of our director, CRA director. He had no clear approval from his board and without first communicating or mediation. In that case, it has caused the town and the CRA to spend taxpayer money to avoid legal fees and court costs for an employee-related issue. When I have here for everyone, this is a statement that Michael Johnson signed, and he acknowledged he was a town employee. And that was what the basis of that lawsuit was for. With that being said, I'm asking the board this. Did you give him clear communication to file the lawsuit? If not, then we need to look further at looking at other representation. These concerns are detriment to the town in protecting the taxpayers as long as following the rules as well. If right now we have an interim attorney right now, if we're looking for legal services, we could put it out to bid. This council finance department has put out RFPs all along. Put it out to bid. If he decides to bid, he can. But in my opinion, the trust with that attorney and his work is not there. Not to mention, I brought to this council numerous times of the financial mishandlings of the director. Purchases at Chipotle, Bahama Breeze. And I was just sitting in shock because we talk about accountability, yet this has come before this board. No one has done anything. So what I'm asking the board today is let's do an investigation into the CRA account. Let's actually investigate while you're already looking at, did Mr. Jackson receive board approval? My other concern is this. Right now, we should be focusing on the bigger matter, and that's the elimination of property taxes. We are looking at spending money, and I've never heard this council come up and say, hey, we're looking at the budget. I've heard Mr. Daniels say, hey, we need to get the budget together. And that was something the attorney that this council fired, Mr. Cliff Shepherd, was working with us on. We have had good people to come in and help us, but yet we do not take their advice. One thing I have to say, sitting on this advisory that is so amazing, I learned that you actually plan. You have to build infrastructure. What do we have with this town? Do we even have a master plan? We're saying we want the property, but we have no plan, no infrastructure. That's what I love about your campaign. You ran that you were going to do better. We deserve better. Mr. Daniels, I got to give it to you. He is putting things in place to build structure. But what we have to do, residents, we have to stand up and let our council people know we're holding you accountable. If you see financial mismanagement, we should not have to bring it to you because you see the records before you. You notice that that attorney did not have your approval and yet you want to have him as our town attorney? That's so inconsiderate. And so what I'm looking for is for someone to make a motion to start investigating stuff. What we're looking for is transparency and accountability. And we're looking for you to actually give the people what we need, development. This is a charitable organization. And they already know that if I come to y'all and tell y'all the truth, they know I would tell them the truth in a hot minute, okay? I am not ashamed to say, because I know this town deserves better. We have sat and looked at nothing. And what they said is true. That's probably been sitting there all this time. But it's always like that a kid. When somebody got the toy, I want the toy, I want the toy. Put the toy down and let's come to the table as an adult and work. At the end of the day, it's about the residents. Whether you're upset who's on the board or not, what we need to do is focus on our future. In my opinion, like you said, it takes a lot of guts. It takes a lot of time to run for office. Focus on what the people don't have. If they eliminate property taxes, how can you tell somebody when they get water? Or can you get your garbage picked up once every 2 weeks? That's the stuff we need you to focus on. Every other mayor is doing it. What are you guys doing? That's all I'm gonna say for today. So I am one of the advisory board meeting. If you would love to come and sit with me, talk with me, I'm always here. I'm available when you're available. Thank you.
Mayor, if you can, let's do that, come up and speak, state out their address. Please.
Thank you.
I just wanted
Do we have any citizens? We do. Shayna Mount.
All right, good evening, Mayor, Council. My name is Shayna Mount Powell. And my address is 558 Ruffle Street, Eatonville, Florida, 32750. So yeah, for the record, I am a So again, my name is Shayna Mount Powell, and as you all know, or may not know, I am born and raised right here in Eatonville. I come from a lineage of public servants, family members who have poured tirelessly into this community. So standing before you today is both an honor and a responsibility I do not take lightly. Over the past several months, I've sat in these chambers and listened closely. I've heard the concerns surrounding Dr. Phillips, the proposed development of Hungerford property. I've also watched this council for the past 9 months go back and forth about what has already transpired. What stands out to me is this. Several council members have acknowledged that the residents of Eatonville have not truly been a part of Baker Burial's planning process. And if the people were not meaningfully included, then we must ask, how accurate are those outcomes and truly representing the voice of this community? As someone who is solution-based, I'm not here just to highlight a problem. I'm here to ask a real question. What are we actually doing to clearly communicate to Dr. Phillips what the people of Eatonville want? Because if we are being honest, if we don't start being a part of the solution, we will continue being the problem. And this community deserves better. This is bigger than a project. It is our history, our culture, and the future of Eatonville. So today, I am issuing a call to action. I'm asking this council and administration to host a true, open, and transparent chat with the residents of Eatonville. Not another filtered conversation, but a real opportunity to listen. A space where the people you represent can openly share what we want to see on that property. Not what others outside or even within your limited circles believe is best for us. Then you, the council, can then take back to Dr. Phillips what we truly would like to see as a collective. Let's come together, face to face, and ensure that the voices of Eatonville are not just heard, but reflected in every decision moving forward. We have been going back and forth. It's time for y'all to get us together. Y'all keep saying what Baker Barrels have not done. Get us together to see what we want, and then take it to Dr. Phillips. Thank you for your time.
This is our last one, John Beacon.
Good evening again. Bakers and Burials, Dr. Phillips, Eatonville is culture, heritage, tourism, and the arts and education. That's our slogan. Eatonville is a destination. When Uncle Walt Disney came and visited Orlando and he decided he was going to put Disney, he had a vision. He didn't just buy it, he had a vision. And I think you have a vision too. Dr. Phillips Sr. actually used black grove workers to pick his fruits. And now you guys over here trying to use us as fruits. I'm a historian. And I'm 68 years old. And I've been to segregated schools and integrated schools. This seems like the same old thing that Frederick Douglass faced. This is straight up. Some people call it systemic racism. Some people call it institutional racism. I call it plain old flat racism. How you didn't listen to council, they spoke their heart out, and you blocked. There's a thing called block from participation. You are blocking this council from participating in a process of Black history. It's not the oldest. It is the first Black municipality in America. Does that say something to you? Booker T. Washington came and visited that campus. Eleanor Roosevelt came and visited that campus. Hamilton Hope Bonaparte was on a trustee board. Booker T. Washington, Bethune Cookman was on that board. This is historic Eatonville. We should be taught. You have not said one thing tonight about the history, historic Eatonville. Talk about preserve what? Do the walking tour. You haven't even talked to the PEC NY Zorg Festival to find out what is that she needs. You're talking about a museum may be possible. A museum is a must. It is a must for historic Eatonville. Eatonville is that ground that you're trying to build on is hallowed grounds. You would never ever make it because there are spirits in that ground. Believe it or not, you have to do it correctly. And there's a collaboration piece, but the collaboration is culture heritage, tourism art, and they should pick someone to be on that board direct. You shouldn't even, when you're transparent, what's the big deal? Everybody on your board now is handpicked. They all participated in the Pulse Institute. Dr. Maroon, actually, they've been here before, Lisa Bertelli, they've been here before. 16 years, they've been convinced the Healthy Eatonville team to go against the town and to take their town. We're not taking our town back. This is Eatonville. This is Black history. This is American history. This ain't no DEI. They're on that ground that you're going to build on. Surely, former slaves built land. And Charles Hungerford, to Ms. Vanos, he only donated 50 acres. The town people donated 50 acres. The town people built their school. The town people with no education actually increased the 100 acres to 300 acres. And OCPS took the land, sold the money, sold it, didn't give anything back in investment. You want to know what Eatonville, you keep talking about the $30,000 income. There's people in Eatonville make 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, a lot of people. But because the trust, you don't trust, they don't trust. That's the problem. We don't trust you.
All right, we are now ready for the public hearing section of tonight's meeting. First public hearing being the approval of the second reading of ordinance 2026-3, dissolving the Board of Adjustment and transferring the powers to the planning board.
Ordinance number 2026-3 from the town of Eatonville, Florida, dissolving the Board of Adjustments established by Chapter 44, Article 3, Division 3 of the Land Development Code and transferring powers of the Board of Adjustment to the Planning Board by amending Chapter 44, Article 3, Division 2, removing references to the Board of Adjustment in the Land Development Code and replacing with the Planning Board, providing for conflicts, providing for codification, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
We will now open it up for public comment. Do we have any members of the audience that would like to speak on this public issue? Please. Seeing none, do we have any council comment for this reading? 3, 2. Seeing none, we are ready for the vote. All those in favor of the second reading of ordinance 2026-3, please signify with aye. Aye. All opposed?
You're gonna need to make a motion.
I'm sorry. I will entertain a motion. It's been moved in second. Now all in favor of approval of the second reading of ordinance 2026-3, please signify with aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, we have an approved reading. We are now ready for the second public reading for tonight. Excuse me while I get to it. We are ready for the public hearing of the approval of the second reading of ordinance 2026-2, certified recovery residences ordinance.
Ordinance 2026-2, ordinance of the town of Eatonville, Florida, relating to the Land Development Code, amending Chapter 60, establishing a process for the review of reasonable accommodation request for certified recovery residents pursuant to Florida Statute Section 397.787, providing for conflicts, providing pursuant to Florida Statute Section 397.487, providing for conflict, providing for codification, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
We will now open up the floor for public comment on this public hearing. Do we have any participants from the audience that would like to speak on this issue? 3, 2. Seeing none, do we have any council comment on it? 3. Seeing none, I will entertain a motion for approval of the second reading of ordinance 2026-2. It's been moved in second. All in favor of the approval of second reading of ordinance 2026-2 signify with aye. Aye. All opposed? Ordinance passes. We are now ready for approval of the first reading of ordinance 2026-4 establishing water and sewer impact fees. CAOD, did you want to make a comment before we open it up for public comment?
Yeah,
go ahead.
okay. Ordinance 2026-4. Ordinance of the town of Eatonville, Florida, amending chapter 43 impact fees of the town land development code, adopting the town of Eatonville water and wastewater capacity fee study dated May 13, 2026, creating Article 6, water and wastewater capacity fees, providing definitions and legislative findings, establishing the water capacity fee and wastewater capacity fee, providing for the use of fees collected, providing for codification, conflict, severability, and an effective date.
Did you want to go first?
Yes. So, Mayor Council, with this ordinance, I want to refer to Ms. Monday to come up. If you see in the ordinance, we left blanks because on the first workshop of it, we did not designate what amounts that we want to put there, so those left. So you have option A and option B, and I'm gonna defer to Ms. Monday.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, guests, and residents. In the ordinance, it gives us the option, and when we had the presentation, I think it was at the last council meeting with Mike Chase from the Florida Rural Water, he gave us options. He gave us the lower end, which is option A. And just remember, this water and sewer impact fee encourages developers, any growth, to pay for growth with our water and sewer system. Anything that the developers or builders are not doing are then on the backs of the existing customers to pay for growth. And so what we're giving is two options. The low end, which is option A, with an impact fee of for water, $1,530, and for wastewater, $540. Option B allows the high end of $4,620 for a water fee and $2,440 for wastewater fee. So we're asking that you have a motion, and we're recommending option B, the higher amount. And I would like to share some of the existing impact fees that our neighbors also have. One example is the high end is Hillsborough County. They have a water impact fee of $4,684 and a sewer impact fee very high of $6,118. That's Hillsborough County. Maitland has a water fee of $2,580 and a sewer fee of $4,320. And then we have Winter Park, which has a very developed, advanced water and sewer system. Theirs is running at $2,866 and a sewer fee of $2,800. None of those are in less than $1,000. So we want you to consider the high end so we can keep up with the growth that's going to be introduced to the town. So we're asking a motion of option A or option B or any other recommendation. Any questions?
Say the higher option is on B.
Option B is a higher option, correct?
That would be your professional decision to probably go with the B option, being that you're
Correct, because what happens is impact fees will pay for anything that's not covered by grant funding that we have in the future. So some towns don't get much, they have loans or whatever, and they supplement it with their impact fee funding. We need to prepare for the future, should grants go away or dissipate or shrink or something like that. So we need to build capacity for the town for future growth.
I agree with you, and I do agree that we do need to kind of, act as though we don't get grants, you know what I'm saying? We got to, take initiatives to, I know it's gonna be tough at times, but we definitely got to make sure that we're, developing something that's gonna be, for the betterment of the community, especially with the amount of money that we use for water and sewage. And I'm glad we are to the stage where we are associating, water and sewage, impact fees, because we didn't have it in the past and it kind of hurt us. And I think we'll be so far ahead if we had it years ago. So I'm glad we're in this moment to get something done. And I would strongly agree with the B option also, because I think that's gonna be sustainable for the community moving forward.
I'll go ahead and leave it open to the rest of the council for public comment and then.
And I was going to say, it's important to understand that it's for future future projects, and it has no impact on current residents. So if there's a house that's already there that has water and sewer, you tear it down, you rebuild it, whatever, no impact. If you go and build on a lot and it does not have it there, you're going to incur those fees. So that's, make sure we're clear on that, so we don't have false pretenses going on in the community.
Any other council comments? I'm ready for the protocol of public hearings to public.
I'm trying to.
Yeah,
Okay, we'll hold off on council. We will open it up for public comment at this time. Do we have any comments from the public on this ordinance? Please come to the lectern.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, members of the community. My name is Good Citizen and my address is Eatonville. I just want to make sure that everyone does also understand, and we have attorneys in the room, so please keep me honest on this one. But through my research, I also that one, the impact fees must be used exclusively for future water and sewer infrastructure purposes. It is not a fund that can be used for any other purpose. It is impact fees collected for that and exclusively used for the future development of that. And then two, I don't know what goes into it, but I also would agree with option B, as guidance had mentioned, because we are way behind on that. We have missed a lot of collecting of those fees, and a lot of people have already connected and impacted the infrastructure. So we do need to catch up to that. But I do wonder, and I don't know the process, but once we do catch up to that, and once we are more developed and like Winter Park was mentioned, the infrastructure does become a bit more sustainable, and those fees for future development be eased, and what would entail that? It would be another long process to, I guess, shift them down to like an option 8.2 or something like that. But that would just be my open question. But also just understand it can only be used for that purpose. Thank you.
Do we have any other public comments about this ordinance? Seeing none, I will open up the floor for council comments. I think I'll start, Councilman Mack, did you have anything? Okay, Mr. Good Citizen, there is a section of the ordinance that does speak to your comment that establishes the water capacity fee trust account, which shall be maintained separate and apart from all other town accounts to answer your concern. Do we have any other council comments or questions regarding tonight's ordinance?
Just for the record, I don't know if everybody heard, but just like the CEO said, this won't concern any citizens that's already in the town. It'll be people that are actually coming here and building, and whether it's resident or commercial. So we want to make sure that we've got that establishment out there. Why we won't, be saying, "Hey, that's going to affect me." No, it's not. That's why it's important that people come and they see and hear everything that's going on too, why they won't get the wrong idea that it's gonna affect them. So with that being said, I'm glad we're moving forward, we're getting something in place that's gonna help us and build sustainability in this community moving forward, not only for us, but for the future. So that's all.
I misspoke, Miss Director Mundy, can you give, I know we spoke at the presentation in the last council meeting, can you give a timeline of when we can expect implementation? I know we're in the first reading, we can expect the second reading, can you give a timeline of when we can expect?
90 days after the second reading.
90 days following the passing of the second reading. Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the council? There being none, we are ready for the vote. All those in favor of the, I'm sorry. Happy Tuesday. I will entertain a motion for the approval of ordinance 2026-4.
What option? You gotta put the option in there because it's not there.
The ALB.
Sounds like the consensus is to approve this motion with approve this ordinance with option B, filling in the blanks. I will again entertain a motion. It's been moved in second. All in favor of the approval of ordinance 2026-4, signify with aye. Aye. All opposed? We have the approval of our first reading. We are now ready for the consent agenda. We have a motion to approve.
Hold up. Question.
You get the motion on the floor?
Go ahead and.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Consent agenda, move to council's decision on the consent.
So we need to, you wanna move it, so. We can't vote on it unless we.
I would like to,
Move it.
I'd like to move the consent agenda for council's decision, please.
Second. It has been moved to second. All in favor of moving consent agenda item down to council decision, please signify with aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, the consent agenda has been pushed into council decisions. It looks like we're ready for that right now anyways, with that being the first item. It is a discussion item, correct? Not a decision.
But if you down to decision.
Right, but there's no resolution attached to it, correct?
It can still go by vote.
Okay.
Because it was in consent, so you can still go live or vote for.
Well, then I will entertain a motion to approve the budget amendment for the reallocation for the deputy chief's salary. Do I have a motion? Yeah, that's what I have a motion. Do I have a motion?
Mayor, where are we now?
We are in the movement of the approval of this item so that we can get to the discussion portion.
Okay.
So do I have a motion for the approval of the amendment to the budget? It dies for lack of motion. Right? Yeah. Did we want? You want to save it for your report?
Okay.
Okay. Did you have a question?
That's on.
Okay. We are now ready for the approval of resolution 2026-27, hiring of attorney Greg Jackson as interim general town attorney for the town of Eatonville.
Yeah, resolution 2026-27, a resolution of the town council of the town of Eatonville, Florida, to hire Greg Jackson as the interim general town attorney, providing for conflict, severability, and an effective date.
Councilwoman Jordan, I know this is your issue. I would like to put a motion on the floor to table this item for administrative reasons, seeing that there is not an empty position at this time. I can save it for the discussion portion if that is more appropriate.
Thank you. Thank you. She put the motion on the floor. We can move forward with doing that. I
You can
don't,
put the
I
motion
don't
on the
agree
floor.
with tabling this item. I want to move forward with whatever motion that is gonna be put on the floor with hiring a interim attorney until we can further do RFQ to hire a permanent, because that was something that we should have did anyway a long time ago. That should have been established May 1st. They hadn't been, it's been a whole month yesterday that we supposed to did that and have yet to happen. That's why we need to move forward with positioning ourselves to put someone in that position until we can fully hire someone that's gonna sit in that permanent spot. So maybe this will put a little fire up on the people's foot to move rapidly to do what we need to do as a town and, as our own board. So, with that being
So the
said,
reason that I'm asking is because, and CAO, please chime in if you feel necessary, without a vacancy, without a position to fill, how can we pick an interim for something that is, and chime in if you so choose, or
Madam Mayor, just for the point of protocol and clarity, there is a motion on the floor.
there
today.
is. That's why.
So you need to either vote it down, vote it up, and then entertain another motion. But because there is a motion on the floor, we need to move it.
we'll be essentially removing the person that's actually sitting there, which is only on the emergency basis, which we didn't have an emergency basis. That was just a theory that we thought, and replacing them with the, current attorney that we want to put in there. I didn't put this, but I do approve and, concur with Councilwoman Jordan suggested. So, the current attorney that's sitting in that capacity now would have to move out of that seat and be replaced with the interim attorney that we would place in there if it's approved by this board. So I think the motion has been sought out.
There is a current motion to table.
Now,
That vote needs to be moved. You need to vote it up or vote it down, and then.
And the reason that I said motion to table is so that we would have the opportunity to discuss it before we went into the full motion. So if it's not necessary to table.
so
then
we're
we
not
can proceed.
removing it.
No. I just
Okay.
I wanted to be able to
So
discuss it.
you wanna have a discussion.
Yeah.
So I think you should say question. Just that would eliminate that instead of
But-
going into the
but-
opportunity to table something.
Mm.
That's why you always put a motion and then question after that. Either you do it before the motion or you do it after the second.
So there is a motion to table.
And then you can say question, and then you can go into your
So
theory
very
of.
familiar with Robert's Rules of Order, but there is a motion to table for the purpose of discussion. If the board doesn't want to
I
table,
don't-
we can go into the full
I
motion.
think
It
it
doesn't
kind of defeats
remove
the
it
purpose of
completely.
tabling it if we can sit here and open a discussion to have that discussion in an open forum.
Right, so you can say so move with questions or
Right.
second with questions,
Right.
but it has to go forward in order for that to happen. So somebody has to say it. That's what I think.
That's what I just said, but not to the point of, tabling. I don't want to table it like. Now,
We
we
can table
wanna,
the item until we're done discussing it and we can continue with it. It doesn't have to be to another meeting. We can table it for the purpose of
if that makes you feel better, but
just for discussion. If y'all want to move forward, we're talking about it, but I think that there are some administrative pieces that are missing.
I think we
That
can do, I think the
conflict with-
conversation can be had during the course of the motion being out there,
But if
right?
it's not a motion that can administratively go forward, then we need to discuss that prior to putting that motion on the table, is what I'm
But
saying.
I think you can do.
But, and I'm leaning to the CAO to fill in those administrative blanks, because we did discuss this. But the motion is on the floor, the motion is on the floor to table.
It has to be tabled because I am the interim general counsel right now, so there is no spot.
That's why I was saying, if there is not a vacant, the motion is on the floor to table,
To table with
to
discussion.
table for discussion. And it does not have to be tabled to another meeting. It can be tabled till we finish this discussion.
You the man, I respect that. So whatever you-
Just for discussion
Whatever you
purposes.
wanna do.
If you table something, you have to table it. We're not discussing it unless you're bringing a motion to discuss right now.
But the second with discussion might allow us more clarity on how to move forward with the actual motion.
Because listen,
Because
this
it's
is the
still a
thing.
motion.
This is the thing. Okay. I wish I could get an opinion from another attorney at this point, because I think we need to really, limit ourselves on what we can do and what we can't do. And everybody know how I feel about certain situations at this point. I respect it. But, I think we need to be very diligent on how we move with this process and possibly ask him a question, because I would like to have Attorney Jackson get up to the podium to ask him a question, reference to what we got in front of us right now, because I keep hearing this language about I can't do, we can't do. We can do what we want to do up here. I'm sorry, as long as it's lawful.
Right.
As long as it's lawful.
That's why I said let's have the administrative conversation first. Because there's an administrative component of that is not being discussed. And then to move forward in conflict with administration is a problem for the town.
So at this time, will we
So
be
let's-
able to have Attorney
Yeah.
Jackson come up to
Yeah,
the podium
absolutely.
and
We
answer
can,
any
during
questions
the
that you may
discussion
have?
portion, we can bring him up and all
Okay,
that.
that's fine.
Okay.
Hold on, because I'm getting conflicts right here. I heard Attorney Fisher. She is currently our attorney of record. Attorney Fisher. Correct. Will you please give us direction?
Do we want to push the motion so we can get to discussion?
I just wanna do it right. That's what I'm trying to do.
It's no different than what we did with Attorney Shepherd.
I got you, but we
It's
wanna,
no different.
Let's yield to the attorney.
I
Attorney.
am the current interim general counsel. Interim means temporary filling in space. There is no position for the town council because that is me right now. There's supposed to be a notice going out for Mr. Jackson to bid, and that will happen. But right now, it should be tabled completely because right now I am the interim, and there's no discussion for him to come up and discuss whether he can be because we haven't put the bid out for the attorneys to come up and say he could bid for this position.
I got a different
And so,
thing.
go ahead. It's
Yeah, so with what I want to do, and I understand what you're saying, attorney, with all due respect. And I want to be able to have this discussion for the position that is not available right now. How do I do that properly in a motion?
Because there's no position opening. The RFP, what it's called, has to be put out for it
Well,
to say there's.
Let me talk, please.
I go ahead.
Let me talk. So the RFP was supposed to go out on May the 1st. It did not. This is the reason for, this is why I have it on the agenda. But I want to make sure that I'm discussing it properly and that is going to go through as deemed. I need some guidance and direction so we can have this conversation lawfully.
If I may, Madam Clerk.
Yes, because there is a motion on the floor to table. Someone can move it with discussion. But once the discussion is made, that motion still needs to be carried out, whether it is voted up, down, or died for lack of second.
So the motion has been put to table. If you get a second, you can second with question and discussions. We can continue the conversation. We can invite Attorney Jackson to the lectern. And then we can decide whether or not we want to continue with the table and stop the conversation right now, or we want to go ahead and move forward. If we don't, if the motion and table dies, then we continue with.
Okay, let's just, with that being said, we gotta make sure that everything is in place in terms of what we initially was gonna move forward with on the interim of the town council, which is, Attorney Jackson, filling that void. So I'm down with going ahead and moving forward with having the discussion, right? Before actually making the approval. That way we can get Attorney Jackson up to the podium and ask any question that we may, because I hear a different opinion. I want to hear a different opinion versus him in front of legal counsel that we have now sitting in this passage.
So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
It's been moved to second with discussion. Do we want to invite Attorney Jackson up now, or do we want to talk? Or CAO, did you want to chime in first?
So I guess the question that has come up, and I heard Councilman Matt say, even with Attorney Shepherd, when he came in an emergency hire, it was a vacancy then. And so council could go through and do it because there's a vacancy. No one was sitting in that position. And other half, that's when I was, Councilwoman Randolph brought it in with resolution because we did have a vacancy. And that's why I was able to go forward. If the position is filled, how can you come in and do that? Because it's already filled. And RFP.
By removing that person out that seat.
But it's an emergency hire and
that we didn't approve.
The mayor has.
that.
No, that's not true. That's another faulty right there.
2.0.
It's not true.
2.03.
The council is responsible for hiring an attorney. The council, not the mayor.
The permanent,
100%.
but the emergency.
No, it doesn't matter if it's permanent, but
But the policies that y'all been governing by the last 24 years say. That's what Mayor Gardner used when she did an emergency appointment for Shepherd, when she did an emergency appointment for.
But see, we
Happy
can do so many
Williams.
things wrong in the past.
But it's in a policy. It's in the policy, Council.
No, I think this is up to the council, not the.
I know what you're saying, thing, and I agree,
No.
which is why I reached out to legal counsel. I spoke to both Attorney Shepherd as well as Attorney Fisher about the authorities listed in the personnel policy that there's an entire section on emergency appointment that says that the mayor or designee may authorize an emergency temporary appointment
Which is
of
his council.
the mayor may designate or authorize an emergency appointment to handle or assist in the emergency and shall be employed only during the period of the emergency or for 6 months, whichever is sooner, which is why we got that RFP out as quickly as possible so we can have a permanent conversation, which every member on this board has the authority to
Well,
weigh in
you've
on.
already kind of got my sight on why I don't want,
Yes,
Attorney
sir.
Shepherd,
Yes, sir.
Attorney Fisher sitting in
I have.
capacity
Yes,
for
sir.
more than one reason. And I
And
don't
we
want to
put
go
that
into the
RFP out.
details of it, but I would be, like I said, this board could put any motion on the floor to put whoever we want. Now, what you're responsible for is the chief, of course, and the CAO, but is council itself?
The only one that I get by myself is the CAO. The town council per the charter is responsible for the permanent placement. Is responsible for the permanent placement of the clerk, the chief, and the town council. But that's the permanent position. If we put in an emergency, if Chief Murray resigns today and we don't have a chief, I have the authority to make an emergency hire.
But it's got
If CAO Daniels resigns today, I have the authority to make per the policy.
Respectfully, I think you need to be mindful of everything.
Oh, I've been mindful. I have been mindful, which is why I asked for the RFP to go out. And to you, and to Councilwoman Jordan, and to Vice Mayor Thomas, and to Councilwoman Randolph. However come.
For one reason, if anybody, I don't care who it is, or something to come up here and think that they're gonna sit in capacity and be disrespectful to any one of y'all, I don't want you here. That's just my opinion.
I understand that, and I told you that yes, ma'am, I'm coming to you, Vice Mayor. I told you that I acknowledged that, and I heard what you said, which is why we made sure that the RFP went out. The RFP went out. We have.
It should have went out on May 1st.
It should have, and we acknowledged that discrepancy the last time. We took accountability for that. We are in the process of moving forward. How many days are left by our law that are required of us to wait before we can have the conversation to start interviewing individuals for this permanent role?
I think it's just been
Councilman
disrespectful
or
all
Councilman
around.
CAO Daniels.
How much time is out of order? This is not in order, according to the Florida statute, you are over talking the mayor, so you have
You don't make
to.
that decision, though.
That is straight for the statute.
The floor is open to CAO Daniels to weigh in. The floor is open to CAO Daniels.
So the RFP went out, mayor and council, with a deadline of June 26th at 2 p.m. But it also does say in that RFP that if someone is found or put in for that position, whether it's candidate A, B, C, or D, we can always shut it down whenever we want to and then move it into the next phase. But we have until June 26th is the deadline that was put on it. But in the RFP, it has the authority for the administration and council to close it
But we don't
out.
always have to go by the deadline, right?
No, we don't have to wait till
Of
the
course, so we
26th.
got someone that have put the RFP in now, right?
No,
Which could be Attorney Shepherd, right? If he,
No, not yet.
no one has put in for the
so when
position.
does it actually go out?
It went out on the 22nd and the 26th for the magistrate as well as legal counsel.
And let me ask you another question. I was gonna do it during the report, but let me do it now. Why did it take you so long to do that? Why did it take you so long to do that?
Councilman Matt. As I stated at the last meeting, there has been administrative challenges within the town, both on the town side and the other agency part, and it took a minute for it to go out. And that's when I stepped in, because it was not done. I stepped in and ensured that it went out.
Well, you the CEO, you're over all administration. Nobody's above you besides the mayor, and she's over all administration. So this is the thing that I'm talking about, even with the attorney that's currently sitting there. The disrespect, the blatant disrespect that she shows when she's blurting out when I'm speaking to a CAO. You're to say anything when a council member is speaking to a staff member, especially blurting out that it's irreverent. That's totally disrespectful. That's one of my main reasons why I don't want her sitting in that capacity, because of the lack of respect that she shows me and this council. That's just my opinion.
Vice Mayor.
It's not a question, it's not a statement. This is, I guess you can't say it might be my opinion. You as the mayor has every right to conduct this meeting professionally. We as the council, regardless of we like someone, I may not like Tom, Dick, and Harry, But it does not constitute that because I am vice mayor, I can say you can get rid of. If our policy says this, that's what we should go by. I don't understand the argument. I don't understand the debate. I don't understand the going back and forth. It is what it is, so let's move on. As long as you continue to go back and forth, you're gonna argue. So the point of it is, that's what the policy procedures say. The position is filled. So where are we going from here, Mayor?
The RFP is out. If we want to start inviting candidates in to have those interviews, we can start as soon as somebody applies. But there was an invitation for Attorney Jackson to speak. Attorney Jackson, would you like to come to the lectern? Does anybody have any questions for Attorney Jackson?
Yeah, I do, because I'm the one that suggested that you get up into the panel. And listen, Attorney Jackson, I'm sure you just heard what happened with the current attorney that's sitting in this capacity now on an emergency basis. Anything that she said, is it truth to it?
So what I'll say is this, my understanding of the hiring of the current attorney is that it was done on an emergency basis to address a lawsuit. At such time that the lawsuit was dissolved, the emergency issue that arose for that attorney to be hired had been dissipated. So that was the emergency for which that attorney was hired. So if you view it as an emergency hire, if I heard that meeting correctly when I was sitting in on that meeting, when I listened on that meeting, that was that person was hired on an emergency lawsuit.
I will address that. It was not just.
Well, but that, understand, that,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's my understanding.
I understand that. So I can give you some more context so that you can give us some more thorough interpretation. The lawsuit was not the only thing that was an emergency. The lawsuit was the biggest of the emergencies. However, the voluntary resignation of Attorney Shepherd left us without counsel. That meant we had an emergency. I then took it upon myself to exercise section D or paragraph D of section 500, which allows for the emergency appointment. And it does state that if that emergency is done, we can move on, which is why the RFP went out as soon as it did. However, that was not the only emergency. There are other things in the town that require legal attention that Attorney Shepherd's firm was tending to: planning, historic preservation, grants. There are multiple administrative operations that his firm was handling. So him walking away wasn't just for the purpose of the lawsuit. We had already dictated that he was going to be the attorney of record when we could have went with Florida Legal City insured attorney. So it wasn't just that. So just so you have a little bit more context, it was more to it than just the lawsuit. But that was the biggest of the emergencies.
So that was my point, because you did have an option with the Florida League of Cities Attorney.
And we chose.
Right, but so the emergency, my understanding was that the emergency was the lawsuit.
Correct.
Now the town could have gone with, as you said, the Florida League Attorney, Florida League of Cities Attorney. So some other parts were not emergencies. Also, my reading of the town's charter is a little bit different from your reading, obviously. When it talks about appointments, it's very specific about who the mayor can appoint. The mayor can appoint a CAO, the mayor can appoint different heads of different departments, but it states very specifically who appoints the attorney for the council. And
the
that,
permanent attorney?
No, who appoints. And it doesn't matter if it's permanent or what otherwise, because it doesn't make that specification in any document that you have. It just says appoint. It doesn't say appoint the attorney. It says that you can appoint on an emergency basis. And there are very specific things or very specific roles that the mayor can appoint. The attorney is not one of those things per the charter. That's my listen. That's my read.
You're here, so let's talk. So it does speak to the appointment, and those are permanent appointments, the permanent chief appointment, the permanent clerk appointment, the permanent CAO appointment. But the personnel policy goes into a little bit more scrutiny, and I don't know if a copy was provided to you the way it was provided to this council, that does speak to the emergency appointment authorities of the mayor. And those are included. And again, even if the town had come back after the fact and chosen for the specific person's representation, him backing out of the town completely left that question on the board, because we asked that night about that. And he did state that he would stay on, but he still was ready to resign. And again, like I said, aside of just that lawsuit, there are other things that were pending. I'm sure Ms. Money can get up and speak. I'm sure Ms. Salmary can get up and speak about other things that were pending that were very important. I got an email tonight about something that needed to be filed. So there were other things that were not listed in addition to the lawsuit that were emerging.
As I said, my
Thank you.
understanding and what I heard
Yes, sir.
that night was that the most pressing issue at that time was a lawsuit. The other issue that you've mentioned, again, the Florida League of Cities provides counsel on legal guidance and things of that nature to where that does not constitute an emergency as what you. And so listen, to be very clear, I know that the RFP is out there. I have not prepared RFP. Let's be very clear about that.
For the permanent position.
Let's be very clear about that. I've been asked for an interim basis. I didn't ask to have my name placed on this agenda or any other agenda. The other thing too, if I may, just take a moment of this council's time. It's very offensive to me, as an attorney here in this community for over 25 years, to have folks to come to this podium and accuse me of doing anything that's untoward. But for 25 years, I've held myself honorably. I've served this country. I've been naval intel. I've been infantry. I'm actually the superintendent of my church school. I carry myself differently for a reason. I do not take my job lightly. If I filed a lawsuit, I followed every letter of the law. There's a reason I followed every letter of the law. I didn't interrupt you, but I understand that you want to speak, but that's fine. I will tell you, there's a reason why I'm still sitting as a CRA attorney and someone else resigned. I was not asked to leave for a reason. Because every document that I provided to the CRA board was backed up by statute, was backed up by bylaws, was backed up by law. Every single thing I provided to the council. No one else, no other attorney provided statutory provisions, AOG opinions, bylaws, or anything. There's a reason that I'm still here and was not asked to resign and did not resign because everything that I did was appropriate and by the law. If anyone wants to challenge me on that, please write me a memo. I'll review whatever you send to me and I'll challenge it if I need to because everything that I did was in writing and was by the law. So, if there's no other questions.
And that was one of my initial reasons during the last time when I recommended that he be the interim attorney is because he knows the legality, he knows everything about this town in terms of new and old business. And I think he was the best fit until we can, permanently put someone in that position. And we was in hope that that was gonna go out on May 1st, which it didn't happen. And it just happened to go out, I guess, maybe 30 days after that, which is a very serious problem with me because if we're not conducting ourselves in a form of governing ourselves accordingly to do everything properly, what are we doing, right? I'm not good with this disrespect. I'm not good with that. Now, if I'm the mayor and I'm sitting in your capacity, whether I'm the mayor or vice mayor or any other council member, what I'm not gonna do is tolerate any staff member to ever disrespect anybody sitting up there on this panel. Period, ever, in life. That's something that I'm not gonna do. I don't do it on my regular job and I'm not gonna do it here. You understand me? Now, disrespect is something that I'm not gonna tolerate, period. And I know you, or, I don't know exactly where Ms. Fisher come from. That's another thing with how she initially got there. We got an email 45 minutes prior to coming into the current meeting that we had her sitting in that capacity. And I had an issue with it. And people thought I had an attitude. It's not about having an attitude. Can you imagine walking in your house and seeing a stranger? You're going to question it, right? You're going to be, hey, who is this? Hey, what's going on? Because I hadn't had an opportunity to look at the email and know that she was sitting in that capacity. If she would have called me or anybody would have reached out to me and said, hey, listen, we got such and such that's going to be at the meeting. She's going to be our emergency hire for attorney. It's not what you do, like I said earlier. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. And the way we do business around here is not always the best thing. You know what I'm saying? And I know we've always practiced on certain things, but the way that this was done, and then the performance that I've gotten from Ms. Fisher, who I respect, but she seems to don't respect me, is atrocious. And detrimental, if you ask me personally, because I've done nothing to her. I don't even know her. So why would you be mouthing off at someone that could possibly hire you as our permanent attorney? That doesn't look good. That's because if she does put an RP out, it's a hard no for me. So I just have to leave that like that.
Yeah, questions for you.
I'll talk to the council, but go ahead.
Yes.
I didn't know.
If you have a question.
Just for the members in the audience, most people don't know things about the Florida bar. When you become a lawyer, you have to take what's called the MPRE, which is the ethical rules of becoming an attorney. One of the basic rules that you learn is the conflict of interest. And when you filed that lawsuit, that was a huge conflict of interest for the town of Eatonville. Florida Bar Rule 4.17 states that you can't represent a client that's something that's adverse to that client. When you filed that lawsuit, that was completely an adverse to the town. So as an attorney, you had to tell that person, I cannot file that lawsuit. That right there put you in conflict for even representing the town any further. It doesn't have to be me. I don't have to be the attorney, but for everyone to know, that's a Florida bar rule. That's something you learn before you can become an attorney. That was a huge conflict. And you as a seasoned attorney, I was just surprised that it even went through.
So here's the difference. I wasn't representing the town. I was representing the CRA. The statutory is a separate and distinct legal entity. I was not suing the town as a part of the town. That's the difference. You have to understand that. Also, I'm in the process. I'm actually in the process of becoming board eligible as a trial attorney. I'll be sitting for the exam in March, April. I'm board eligible to become board certified. To even get to that point, there's certain steps you have to take. Over 25 years, I've worked myself up to this position. I've been an assistant attorney general for the state of Florida. I have counseled municipalities extensively. I've written white papers on CRAs for legislators. There's a difference between someone who understands the difference between when you represent a town and you represent a CRA, which is statutorily different from the town. So yeah, if I was representing the town and I filed that lawsuit, then yes, you're absolutely right. But based on what you're saying, it's right. That's the canons of law. That's the rules of ethics. That doesn't apply. That does not apply.
My question is, are you interested in representing the town in all capacities? There was a comment made that you know all the interactions and dealings. From my administrative purview, I've only interacted with you on the CRA side, whereas we've interacted with Attorney Shepherd's firm and all the other administrative departments of the town, because it is in fact supposed to be independent, separate, distinct, etc. So while his firm was representing the town in all these other capacities at all these other meetings, is it your statement tonight that you are interested in representing the town on an and this is just for clarity, is it your statement? Because I heard you say you did not put in for this, you didn't ask for your name, and this is the third time that it has come in a month of Sunday, in 6 weeks. But for me as well, and I'll yield to you in a second, but I just would like to know for the record, if all the other capacities in which the town attorney has represented and is currently representing us, if that is something that you have been interested or even considered or even had conversations about with any member of this council or staff.
So I've always said, and I've told Ms. Randolph this, I've told Board Member Jordan this, I've told Councilman Mack this, Council Jordan. I believe I told Vice Chair Thomas this. You and I've told you this also. I will assist this council in any way that I can. If you ask me to serve, I will serve. I've always said that. If I were the CRA attorney and the town attorney, I would not have filed a lawsuit against the town if I was both attorneys. That's ridiculous. That's asinine. I know the rules of ethics. But in both capacities, yes, an attorney who works for the CRA and works for the town can operate as one body, as one individual. Now, if I do that, then yes, there's clearly a conflict, but I was not doing it at the time that this issue arose. And I'm not going to relive that issue because it was a horrible experience for the board and for the staff. It should not have happened, but it happened not because of me, but because of the actions of someone else that had to act to protect the board at that time. And I made it very clear to the board what I did and why I did it. And the board had no issues with, well, some had some issues, but we understood why I did what I did. That's your question, Director Mayor. If I'm asked to serve this town in an interim capacity, I stand ready to serve in any way possible. If I'm not, I will continue to serve the TOCA board honorably as I have since 2014 with the lapse for about 2 years when I stepped away.
You have a question?
No.
Okay.
No, I did have a statement and I did reach out to Attorney Jackson. And previously when he was recommended when he was recommended to be the interim, it was because we were in that thing between the town and the CRA. And I stated at that time, I would not have an issue with him, stepping in as our interim or as our interim if we weren't in that particular conflict, in that lawsuit. Now that that has passed, that is why I put it on the agenda, because that's how I feel. Okay, I feel as if he has done a very good job on the Topher side. He has been a part of this town since 2019. He has served on the town side before. I heard Attorney Shepherd at our last meeting, he said verbally twice and probably insinuated at least 4 times that his time is getting less and less, his availability. You understand? I heard that. You understand? So I feel as if our time, our learning curve is short. I appreciate everything that Attorney Fisher has done for this town in stepping in this emergent situation. However, the emergency is over.
Is it?
The emergency is over based on what I know and what I heard. You understand? And like I said, it's nothing about attorney. I thank her very, very much for what she has done at this particular time. It is my thought that that particular emergency is over because the emergency did begin about the law. And I did understand you say you got other things going on in the town. So I would like to make a motion that we follow through on this approval of resolution. I can't do it right now.
We got some motion to table, but.
Tell me when.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Now, no, thank you.
So it's not just him, it was me.
No, and I'm not
100%.
I just wanted to ensure that we understood that there was not an actual vacancy that was available. When she was brought in as emergency also covered interim. And I understand, Councilman Mack, as I've acknowledged, I understand as I've acknowledged that you had, and it goes both ways. It goes both ways, right? Because when I'm talking, I don't interrupt you. So the same way you don't want to be disrespected by her, I don't want to be disrespected either. So I want to be heard, I want to be respected in my authority and in my position. It's not a roof thing, it's a mayor thing. And the policies and procedures which were provided clearly state emergency appointments and the authorities therein. So emergency, interim, 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other, it is all the same when it comes to filling that position, which is why when we found out together that the RFP did not go out and we received acknowledgement and we received excuse me, what's the word I'm looking for, CAO Daniels? The accountability, thank you. We received both of those in relation to it, and then action was taken after that to ensure that we were able to move forward. As you've heard, we have the authority to go ahead and start interviewing those individuals right away. But when that position is already filled, when she's been here for almost a month, filling in those blanks, sitting side by side with Attorney Shepherd, familiarizing herself with the business of the town, which I'm sure took more than 2 weeks, and will probably take more than 2 weeks when we get ready to move forward in any other direction, at which time the RFP will be ready to be closed out. We still have the authority as the board to make that permanent appointment. I'm not taking that from y'all. I'm simply saying there is no interim to fill when she is there. And the one emergency of the lawsuit was not the only emergency. It was just the loudest. And it wasn't even the lawsuit as much as it was the conflict, which I heard you when you said that night that you decided not to go in favor of Attorney Jackson at that time, that was your biggest pushback. That was your biggest hesitation, was the conflict. And some of us agree because it didn't pass. But I'm simply saying tonight.
The conflict has been resolved.
In that it has.
The conflict has been resolved.
It has, but there are still.
You all, please let me know when I can move on this motion, please.
Do we have any other comments?
I just want to make a comment. I believe this was on maybe April 21st. And the last time we had this conversation, Mayor, I did mention that if I was wrong, if I'm standing to be wrong, I stand to be right. Just correct however way this goes. A decision has to be made. But my position at that particular time was that, and I had asked, what is the nature of the emergency? you explained that very clearly, it's like an emergency, and I respected that. However, I felt that the voting rights and the authority of hiring an attorney, regardless if it's emergency or non-emergency, whether it's replacement, retirement, or death, or whatever, it still lies in the authority of the town council. And that was my position at that time. And I still stand by that reason. Okay. Now, I understand what you did, you had to do what you had to do. But the emergency, I feel, is over. There's no emergency right now. And we do have the right to bring in, in my opinion, another interim attorney at the will of the council. Not the will of the mayor, the will of the town council. And that's what I say.
It's already established, Mayor.
And I have a question for you, Councilwoman Randolph. When Attorney Shepherd was brought in as the emergency hire after y'all fired him on the last administration, what were your reservations then, or did you have any? Did you have any reservations about the mayor's authority at that time?
You mean the first time that he was
A
fired?
year ago. So a year ago, the previous council, including yourself, opted to fire him. The mayor stepped in immediately and made an emergency appointment. Do you have any different opinions or reservations about the authority of the seat than you did last year?
Well, what happened the last time, it was kind of like a totally different situation. Yeah. Right after that happened, I did visit Attorney Shepherd's office. And he explained some things to me that it really kind of reversed my way of thinking about how it's done, and maybe to ratify that in another way and give more consideration for reasons that he presented to me that I felt like was not really totally his fault. In some ways, it wasn't really totally his fault as to how things turned out. It looked like it was going against him, but it was not. He was not able to make some decisions and do a couple of things that he felt that he should have done, but he was following the leadership as to what he felt like he was supposed to do.
So your reservation was about the firing, not the emergency appointment. Is that correct?
No, it wasn't, right, it was wrong.
So the support in firing Attorney Shepherd at that time, you got a different opinion, you had a change of heart about after that. Okay, but what was your opinion about the mayor's authority to make the emergency appointment during the meeting? She made an immediate emergency appointment during the meeting. Can you tell me if anything has changed with your purview, with your?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, so you believed at that time because there was no pushback. There was no question that night.
But see, it was different because we were bringing back the same attorney.
But it didn't matter if it was the same attorney or not. She exercised her authority to make an emergency appointment in the absence of an attorney, correct? Okay. And there was no pushback. It was respected then that appointment, that authority was given per the personnel policies, not the charter, which we all agree give all five of us that authority, but the emergency appointment specifically, because it also happened with the former clerk, Miss Kathleen Williams, when she was made CAO. There was no pushback on that appointment either, because it fell under the emergency appointment authorities as listed in the policies and procedures. So my question is, what, if anything, has changed about your perspective on the authorities under the emergency appointment?
Well, it was the majority of the board. It's what the town council. It's not one or two people.
So did you feel like that then?
The majority of the board during that time with the last one, with Shepherd, that was the majority of the board. The board had the authority to vote to bring him back, and so that way he can serve his.
But the vote to bring him back came back after the emergency appointment. There was a vote to fire. There was an immediate emergency appointment. There was no pushback. The next meeting, there was an agreement to bring Attorney Shepherd back.
Yes.
So in the interim of the emergency appointment, is there any difference in how you felt about her authority then as to how you feel about my authority now, as it pertains to emergency appointment?
Well, yeah, because first of all, you brought her in as an emergency. So I'm still, reason is because I said that Because if it is an emergency, the board, the town council still has the authority to vote over that, over your decision of a person being appointed as an interim. We still have the authority that we can bring someone in. The emergency no longer exists. Is that correct?
No, that's not correct.
So
The
if-
lack of an attorney, the lack of an attorney
So if the
was,
council-
I'm one second, I'm just finishing, I'm gonna open it up. The lack of an attorney is the emergency. Not having that attorney is the emergency. That appointment is good for up to 180 days. With there being no vacancy, there is no need for an interim. The emergency was not simply or singularly the lawsuit. There were a number of administrative responsibilities that are emergent, even now, that Attorney Fisher has been working on. That if Attorney Jackson is brought in, we'll have to take time out with deadlines approaching to get caught up on, not to diminish your capacity. I've worked with you for 3 years. I know what you can and cannot do. But my question is very specifically, what is different about the mayor's emergency authority then and now? Because there was no pushback at all, other than to agree in the next conversation to bring them back. So does your perspective of the emergency appointment authority as listed in the governing documents that have been governing this council and this town for the last 20 some odd years, has that changed?
So the council has the authority, is my understanding from what I'm hearing.
In the
So,
charter,
so in the charter, so if that's the case, so, and if I'm hearing this correctly, so in the essence of time, so at some point we can go home tonight, are we saying that so with there not being a vacancy, does the council have to terminate Attorney Fisher and bring in Attorney Jackson? Is that where we are?
I don't believe that that's the case. And again, that's why I yielded to Shepherd.
And we still have Attorney Shepherd who is willing to work with Jackson. I know he's not the town attorney.
And I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but in my role as mayor, it is not my job to confer with the CRA attorney about town business, the same way it is not my job to
I'm
confer.
not conferring with
But I
him
just
because
mean-
he's here in a different capacity this evening.
Right, I just mean when I confer
I'm
with
the one
Shepherd,
that
the conferring with Shepherd
That
in the
advised-
role as mayor, the administrative role, right, so it was just for that. It's not to say that Jackson is not capable in any capacity.
Right,
It's to say that Jackson's opinion was not considered at the time because Jackson wasn't the town attorney.
I
So,
understand that.
and Shepherd agreed to stay on while we transitioned. He was still effectively representing the town as town attorney, as he is now. And we had that discussion that
Yes,
night
ma'am.
where we gave
Yes, ma'am.
approval to keep Shepherd on for however long it took to get
Yes,
the
ma'am.
next person up to speed,
So-
all the way through the RFP process. So his opinion is the one that we referenced that was given at the time of the explanation for the use of authority.
Now, this,
Okay.
But let me let Councilwoman Jordan finish.
So I'm just trying to get to the bottom of this so we don't keep going back and
My,
forth.
my biggest pushback is that there is no administrative need for another interim when there is an interim.
And I mean, I'm not trying to push back on that because I did hear what you said, like that you've worked with Attorney Jackson for the last 3 years. You said it out of your mouth. You guys have worked well.
Correct.
Okay, so that is my position, right? Now, if we need to put a motion on the floor to terminate Attorney Fisher and bring in Attorney Jackson, I think that's what we should do.
yeah,
I mean, now y'all
I'm in a position to do that.
I'm ready to.
I'm saying,
Get the order.
in the sake,
Order.
for the sake of time. If that's what needs to happen, because I'm hearing you say that there is no vacancy, right? And I am of the belief, if we were able, or Attorney Shepherd, he resigned on his own.
Yeah.
You understand that we have the same authority in terms of Attorney Fisher.
Absolutely.
That is what my belief is of this.
It just needs to be a motion on the floor.
So let me, I see you, Attorney Jackson. I'm making my way. Vice Mayor.
Question. And I keep hearing, I feel. The ordinance, the policies is law. That's what it says. To hire interim, you have that. To hire a permanent attorney, the charter says we have that authority as a council. I'm just totally confused as why we keep going back and forth. If the policy procedure says that, that's the law. If the ordinance says we have the right to hire an attorney, yet no one has applied for that position and we don't have a vacancy. So do your feeling really matter, or what's best for the town of Eatonville? Your feeling, I feel, I think, I don't care what you feel, I don't care what you think. It's what is in this policy procedure. If you guys have been up here for the last 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years and you did not make an opportunity to change it, so why are you complaining about something that you didn't do now? So please, let's get this straightened out. Let's do this professionally and let's move on. We don't spend all this time going back and forth. No disrespect to you, Mr. Jackson. But the point of it is, whatever that policy say, and you've been here all this time and you've never done nothing. I know it hasn't been changed because I was here in 2014 trying to get it changed and you didn't want it changed. So tell me why you want to make a big deal out of it now, because you feel. I don't care what you feel. What does this policy say is true and law? That's what I want to know.
And the policy says just what Jackson
The
said.
policy says exactly what it says.
All right.
Regardless, okay, now there we go, disrespect. If I'm disrespecting you, guess what? I'm gonna keep on. The policy says this. Attorney Jackson, I respect everything he say, and he is a good attorney. He's a great attorney. But this policy says this. Not what Mr. Jackson is about to get up here. That's his interpretation, just like the Attorney General got opinion. I got one too. Mr. Jackson have one, Ms. Fisher have one, you have one, everybody up here have one, because we feel something. But what does this policy procedure, which is law, says? Now tell me that.
Council has the authority to appoint.
That is not what it says. No, it's not what it says. Go for it.
And that's my stand.
So policies aren't law. Policies are just directives as to how to, good practices, but it's not law.
Good practice.
Yeah,
That's
it's not law.
exactly.
So it's not.
Well, then it's not law. You just said it's good practices. So our feelings is not a good practice. It's just our opinion. So let's go with the good law.
Right. And
Just
so,
like we have good residents.
right. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to add context to the conversation that, that Mayor Crick and, Councilwoman Randolph were having. In August or September of 2025, when Attorney Shepherd was terminated and he was hired back immediately for emergency hire. What happened then is that they actually put me on the agenda to bring me in as the interim attorney. The reason why he remained is because I came in and I spoke up for Attorney Shepherd. At that time, Attorney Shepherd said that they were working on the school board property and that they were just weeks away from closing the deal on the school board property. I spoke to Attorney Shepherd extensively. I also spoke to then CAO Presley. And they said, hey, listen, we're close to getting the school board property done. So when I came in, I said, it wouldn't be fair for me to come in and to halt the town if this school board property is about to be closed on and the town is about to get this property. So the council that was here at that time, I said, I think that Attorney Shepherd should remain in that position because I don't want to slow down the progress. And that's when they voted to bring him back in, was then. Because I said, I didn't want to do it and I didn't think that it was fair to the town for me to step in to do that. So it wasn't that Councilwoman Randolph backed away from anything. It's the fact that she understood that I could, and I remember also Councilman Daniels was here that night. And he said, I thank you for letting us know that. Councilman Mack said the same thing. Thank you for letting us know that. We appreciate you for letting us know that Attorney Shepherd should be the one to continue to move forward. So that's how that happened.
Thank you. I was there and I did witness. That's why my question was not, did you have a difference of opinion about Shepherd? It was, did you have a difference of opinion about the authority that is listed in the policies that we have agreed upon as a council, as a governing body to help dictate the operations of the town? We know that the personnel policy and procedure is not law. We know that it is an administrative Bible by which we can run the day-to-day operations. That is all. The policy gave the authority was taken. I'm not pulling anything away from this board by saying you don't have the right. I'm simply saying, very much like you're saying, Councilwoman, let's just figure out the right way to do it. So even if that means, okay, let's have an emergency meeting, let's have a special meeting. I know Councilwoman Randolph said that she wanted to get a second opinion about it. The opinion that I got came from the attorney that represents the town. So my question is not about whether you dislike Shepherd, whether you dislike Fisher. I know how you feel and I respect that. But it was your recommendation.
Very disrespectful.
Nevertheless,
I signed checks.
this is disrespectful. While I'm trying to just finish, I know, I'm just acknowledging you. I'm simply saying for Attorney Jackson, my question was not about whether or not there was a change of heart about Shepherd. We know there was a change of heart about Shepherd. I sat on the other side of the dais and I watched what played out. First question I had upon the firing of Attorney Shepherd was, what about Hungerford? That was the first question that I had that I did not speak out about. That was the first question that I had. My concern is not how you feel about Shepherd, how you feel about Fisher. My concern is about the administrative authority that is listed in the administrative Bible of this town that I'm held to. Everybody else get to walk out and don't have to come back to the first and third Tuesday and the third Thursday. I'm here Monday to Friday and Saturdays and Sundays and in the evening with responsibilities that exceed past the legislative responsibility that we have up here. So it's not for me. I'm not saying you don't have the right to choose. I know what the charter say. I read that thing 15 times over on election night. 15 times over just to understand. So I wouldn't take that from you. That's why I made sure that the RFP went out, because I know that lies with us. I'm not questioning that. I'm simply saying there is not technically a vacancy. Now, Councilwoman Jordan, you said, and I heard what you said about wanting to move forward with another motion. I'm not even opposed to that. I'm simply saying, how do we know? Very much like Vice Mayor is saying. So we saying this how you feel, this how she feel, this how I feel, this how I interpret, this what he read, this what he saw. Who do we lean on? Who are we leaning on to give us a unified guiding direction?
Our legal attorney.
Which is currently Attorney Fisher.
But like
And
I
was
said,
before that Attorney Shepherd.
But like I said before, Attorney Jackson knows all the significance of the town of Eatonville. He's been practicing for
Significance? Or when you say significance, do you mean like all the other?
Yeah, everything that's going on in the town. Yes, because I asked the question, are you capable of running the
Not capable. Do you understand the current nature of the legal things do you understand the current nature of all the legal things that are happening in the town right now? Are you abreast? Are you aware? Are you caught up on all the things that are happening in every administrative department in the town right now?
I mean, I don't know if that's a fair question because I haven't been asked to do that.
But that's the statement that's been made, so I'm asking off that basis.
If you give me the information, then yeah, I would be, I mean, if you ask me about.
And if that was the case, I would extend that, the same way we extended that grace to Attorney Fisher to give her the opportunity to get caught up while keeping this, collectively we did. We decided to keep Shepherd on board to transition us through because we know that Shepherd's firm is very well versed in all things legal and all things Eatonville. I have no doubt that Attorney Jackson can catch up. I have no doubt about that. Just the same way I had no doubt that Attorney Fisher could catch up with the help of Attorney Shepherd and his firm and their inner workings and staff. I have no doubt about that. My only question is, if you don't want to hear from the town attorney, who do you want to hear from?
Another attorney besides the one that's actually sitting up here.
Okay, so then let me ask you this, Councilwoman Jordan, because I know that was your concern as well as Vice Mayor. Would we be open at all to a special meeting where we can discuss just this?
I don't want to have no more special.
I know you don't, I don't either, but we don't want to.
Any special or any
Out of order, right?
I don't.
But we don't want to move out of order, right? Are we amenable in any capacity? If the answer is no, then the answer is no. Are we amenable in any capacity to come into a unified understanding as to what this personnel policy, the charter, what that means? For the sake of doing it right. For the sake of doing it right, it was in our face 2 times before now. And the understanding was that the authority was.
We got the authority to fire, to terminate also.
You do?
Yes.
You do?
We can put that motion on the floor.
You
And I
do.
think it's already been suggested by, council,
And it also says that they shall be employed, not can be, not maybe, they shall be. Meaning it's a demand. It's not an option. Shall is not may. May is option. So may is optional, but this says shall. So if it shall, then I think that would. I'm not
You mean the language reference to what and shall?
To the appointment and to the employment of that appointment.
But I'm just,
Shall be
you're saying,
employed.
telling me that she got a permanent just sitting?
No, no.
Okay.
No, hold on. One second. No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm simply saying she shall be employed.
Until we terminate her.
No, it don't say that. It don't say that. So I don't wanna put nothing in there. I don't wanna take nothing out. I'm simply offering an opportunity for us to get on the same page, because it clearly sounds like we're not on the same page.
We're not.
So to make a decision when we don't understand collectively, I think it's irresponsible. Now, you might feel differently. You might wanna move forward and you have that right. However, I'm saying as an offer of collaboration, would it appease this board in any capacity to have a meeting specifically about this?
Well, Mayor, we talked about this in last meeting. You remember I said it?
Yeah.
Let me say it. I said, Mayor, I don't want to come back to this meeting on next meeting and have the same conversation. Did I not say that? I said that. I said that because for one, you know.
I have a comment.
Okay.
Let her finish, please. Councilman Matt, please.
Let me just say this.
No, Vice Mayor, one second.
No,
One second, Vice Mayor.
Y'all don't get going
We
back.
asked him to be respectful. Just finish, please. Let me let him finish and I'll yield. Let me let him finish, please. No, you're not. Please continue.
You don't disrespect everybody, but
This is the thing. I said then and I'm saying now, I don't want to come back to this meeting 2 weeks from now and have the same situation. That's why I told the CAO, listen, we need to put RFQ out for this position permanently. That way, if she chooses to want to but it won't work for me. With her, I can tell you that right now. But if she chooses to do it, that's her opinion. But I think with the blatant disrespect that she's displayed thus far, that doesn't sit well with me. I can't speak for everybody else, right? Imagine someone sitting in that capacity and just blatantly being disrespectful towards you. I'm gonna have a problem with it. I'm gonna have a problem with that. You understand me? And it disgusts me that nobody else have a problem with her being disrespectful towards me as a council member and as a legislator and as the one that could possibly, and the one that signed her checks. That's just, come on. Listen, right is right, wrong is wrong. I don't know her, Miss Fish, Attorney Fisher, she don't know me. But just imagine seeing in my capacity and her being as blatant, as disrespectful as she is. I've said nothing out of the way to be disrespectful to her at all. Period. But she's butting in telling me that it's not relevant when I'm speaking to another staff member. That's out of line.
I know somebody will say that.
Come on. That's not being good conduct, especially if you are a sitting council attorney. That doesn't look good.
Okay.
If you're gonna sit here and interfere with a council member when he's speaking to another staff member, talking about that's irrelevant.
I got
Come on.
thank
That's disrespectful, man. And I don't like it.
Thank you for your opinion, and you asked something about, are we in favor of come back having an emergency meeting? No, I'm in favor of us coming back with the policy procedure change. I don't want to come back for a meeting just to talk about it. And then on top of that, we have a motion, so can we please move with this motion?
We already.
Yes, please. Okay, yes, please, let's
comments?
do that, please.
Councilwoman Jordan, do you have any other comments? I thought you had your hand raised.
No, I just want to do what I can.
All right, the motion to table has been moved in second. All in favor?
It has not been second.
It has.
It's only been, it was moved by Matt with discussion. So it would be a second.
There was a
Second.
All in favor of tabling item number 2 on council decision, signify with aye. Aye. All opposed?
No.
Hey,
The nays have it. We are ready for resolution 2026-27.
I move for the approval of resolution 2026-27.
Let me get the preamble in. Oh, no, we.
you have to read the preamble and then we'll go into moving forward.
The motion was to table last time.
Yeah, but it failed for the last second.
Right.
Right.
So we ready for the. Can you read the preamble for 2026-27?
Wow, I'm reading it again.
It was already read.
So are we going straight to the vote?
Yeah.
Any other
The
discussion?
first motion failed.
We ready to continue?
We're ready to continue if there's another motion.
It has been moved. Has it been second? It was second.
What is the motion?
The approval of resolution 2026-27.
Okay, the approval. And who motioned that? I did.
Councilwoman Jordan,
Okay.
do we have a second?
Second.
Councilman Mack. Do we have any questions or discussion?
I want to discuss it because I keep hearing that there's no vacancy, so in order to do this the proper way, I think that we perhaps, y'all tell me how to get out of this motion, and if we need to make a motion to terminate Attorney Fisher, therefore it will be
We're protecting ourselves in this board.
vacancy and bring in attorney.
So I think we need to do that first and then come back to this.
So your question about accuracy
Yes,
is
because I don't want to leave here.
Madam Mayor, just for the record, the attorney had an emergency.
thank you.
Okay. So that's what I would like to do, is I would like to do it proper. So that in the essence, and in all due respect to Attorney Fisher, and so we can do it right.
And that was why I asked about if we wanted to have a meeting, because there seems to be a misunderstanding. Just give me a second. There seems to be a misunderstanding about what the actual procedure and protocol is. So if it is not the policy manual that we are guiding ourselves by, the request was to see if we could come to an agreement and an understanding of what that authority means, whether that's pulling Attorney Shepherd, whether that's pulling Attorney Jackson, whether that's have a collaborative conversation to ensure that we're doing it right. Do we have the authority to fire per the policy, per the charter? Do we have the authority to do that? Are we operating in the correct capacity?
Yes.
Because it doesn't seem that we know.
Not
It doesn't seem that we know. And I'm leaning into your question.
We do have the authority.
That's your belief.
That is,
That-
okay.
That's the law.
Okay, so,
That's
because the only reason I'm asking is
That's
because you bring out a valid point when you say,
That's my
we wanna make sure that we're doing it on the up and up. We wanna make sure that we're doing it right. I don't wanna pass this and then we put ourselves in position to be said that we operated outside of protocol as it is written in our guiding documents and principles. I don't wanna come back and have somebody tell me the way you're saying now, you didn't have the authority to do that when the documentation says otherwise. So that's why my request was, do we want to get together and have the conversation so that we all have a collective understanding versus dragging this out another 30 minutes tonight? That was my request. If the answer is no, and you feel confident in moving in this capacity, then somebody ought to be able to tell you, because I don't have that understanding. So I can't tell you that we're operating appropriately by making that decision tonight. I can't tell you that. That is when I spoke with Attorney Shepherd to ask about all the ins and outs, the yays and the nays, the connecting of the dots, I was told that this is what governs us next to the charter.
So Attorney Shepherd,
The charter
Attorney
is the
Shepherd
Bible
is not here
to the
tonight.
community.
He's not, he cannot be able
But see, that's what I'm talking about right there. See, and he had kept telling us, listen, my time is becoming less and less available. I feel.
I'm gonna make no.
Nothing trumps the top, nothing trumps the charter besides the authority.
He's always, he has been here with us throughout, not on the town side. I cannot say that. Attorney Shepherd is not here tonight.
Correct.
Attorney Fisher had an emergency.
Understood. That's why I'm asking now, because my reference was Attorney Shepherd.
Well,
Attorney Shepherd gave me the
Can
information.
we yield this to Attorney Jackson as he is in the?
I don't think that that's appropriate considering he doesn't currently represent the town. Respectfully.
But he's an attorney though.
And he is, and so was Attorney Shepherd, so was Attorney Fisher,
But he
who
had an
both,
emergency
I'm
meeting.
sorry, so was Attorney Shepherd, so was Attorney Fisher, who gave those opinions, which is what I went by. Which is, okay, I understand, I'm a yield, I hear what you're saying, I'm coming to you. I'm simply saying that when I went for the legal opinion, I went to the appropriate people. I went to the people that were responsible for giving guidance to the mayor and the council as it related to the legal interpretation of these documents. The same way on the CRA side, we lean on Jackson for CRA business. I leaned on Shepherd, who was still in position. I leaned on Fisher, who was in position. So if that's not the legal opinion that you want to take, I'm okay with that. I'm saying, let's get together and come up with a legal opinion that we do. Collectively. Charter states collective emergency policies and procedures are supplemental, and they fill in the blanks where the charter does not explicitly speak to A, B, C, or
But
D.
it's up to this council though, attorney. I mean,
Except
Mayor.
for emergency appointments.
Mayor,
The
it's up to
charter
this
doesn't
council.
speak, the charter does not speak to emergency appointments. That's what the policies and procedures help us understand. That's all I'm saying. No, you're absolutely right about the charter. I agree with you. All five of us, all three of those positions. I absolutely agree. I'm simply saying, when we talking about legal interpretation, we have leaned on legal counsel for the town and or the CRA in their respective roles, which is what was done, which is why this was even brought before you. If I didn't believe I had the authority, I wouldn't have did it. I wouldn't have made that decision. And this is the third conversation that we've had about it. And this is the third time that I agree. It should have been dead first time. It should have been dead first time, but it's been brought back. So my request was simply to get on the same page. That was it. CAO.
Mayor, council, in absence of legal counsel right now, I don't know how we're gonna be able to move forward in this meeting, in this proceedings. So my recommendation is that we adjourn this meeting and you all give me direction on when would you like to reconvene this meeting, or possibly who to have sitting there, some attorney official, whatever, but I'm at y'all discretion.
But I think the best thing for us to do moving forward, Mayor, is to move forward with Councilwoman Jordan want to do, terminate, and then make another motion to hire Attorney Jackson as our interim.
We don't have legal counsel here right now, so I don't know.
But that's problematic right there for her to, and like I said, I don't want to get into all that, but this is very unfair. Like, it's just a lot of things that have happened with her sitting in that seat that doesn't sit well with me, because she didn't come to one meeting, and then now she just stormed out of here saying she got an emergency. I got an emergency too. I got to be to work at 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm here. So if we're gonna sit here and pick and choose on what we want to do in terms of staying here, don't nobody want to be here right now in this present moment. But we're here. But for her to sit here and storm out the way she did, and that doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. And what she did doesn't look good, and it doesn't make me feel comfortable with having her as our legal counsel, because I can't trust her, because I just don't. I'm sorry.
Okay, I have a question. Ms. King, where are we with this? We have a motion and we have a second.
Are we out of line by voting without legal here? Because it sounds like and I want to put you on the spot, I'm getting a nod from Attorney Jackson, and I'm also seeing from this, I understand that, but I'm getting a nod from Attorney Jackson that we need to hold.
It's best practice that we don't make any decision without us legal. And I'm definitely
Well, I will.
in agreement with that.
Mayor, at the last incident that was similar to this, when Attorney Shepherd resigned, effective immediately, it created a situation where we had in the general counsel. And at that time, the council decided to not vote on it. This would be the same scenario.
So could this be a tactic that she just get up and what if she do this every meeting?
Let's not speculate.
I'm just saying though.
Speculate.
I'm not speculating.
I will tell you this.
This could be an apparent tactic to get up every time, right? So if you do this every time, we can't move forward with what we need to do as a council. Just think about it.
I will tell you that.
I ain't trying to make no nonsense. I'm just trying to make sense
I will
of it.
tell you as a mother, she received an emergency call concerning her child.
Respect
she
that.
had to leave because of the emergency. I believe she sent the email.
I respect that. Especially
and she did let me know as the clerk, and I told her I would inform the council. So I can't speak to intent and motive. I just know there was an emergency that where she had to leave, and it was related to her child.
Respect that.
Did you want to? Okay. I just want to have one question. Since this, since it was second, motion second. So if we come back again, we can finish the whole process all over again, and it's item.
I think all these council decisions will have to be
halted.
Every last one of them. None of them withdrawn. Yeah,
Everything that we haven't approved yet got to be halted.
Well, that's all of them. This was the first one.
Yeah, okay.
We still have a few others. Ms. King.
So items 2 through 5 to be brought back. at the next meeting.
Is this board amenable to a special meeting?
Let's do it. If that's gonna, if, being that she's not here, and we need legal counsel here to be able to
And we have
make any
work
approval, whether it's up or down, that's the only way, that's the best practice ethically. So we gotta make sure that make it an emergency meeting. That means we can have one like Friday. Because if we make it a special meeting, we can have it next week. And I'm not able to be here because I'm gonna be on vacation and I'm gonna be out of the state. So I wanna make sure that I'm here in reference to anything that's gonna take place with decision making. So if we can make this an emergency meeting by polling now, see who will be available, that'll be great.
Well, I will tell you, I know the meetings are not based upon my schedule. I won't be able to be present Friday. I have to go out of town due to a death in the family.
And we were presented with an opportunity to have a meeting on the 3rd. I believe we did not get a quorum for that. The 4th is what, Thursday?
Yes.
Ms. King, do we have any other?
Historic preservation is Thursday, right?
Yes.
Okay, so if it's
What time
Thursday,
do
it would
they
have to be
start?
before, what are they, 6:30?
I'm
6
not
o'clock?
The historic preservation board meeting is at 6 o'clock. On Thursday.
What, you said you weren't available Friday?
No,
Thursday.
no, next Wednesday, I'm
Next
not
week,
available.
Wednesday. Friday. Friday, do we? Y'all wanna post Friday?
Friday works. Let's do it early though. Like, I don't wanna be here, huh?
5:30?
No.
Thursday, 4 o'clock.
Let's do Thursday then. Let's do Thursday.
What time?
Thursday at 4?
Oh.
Yeah, let's do it during the work day.
Are we gonna have a quorum? Cause I'm available Thursday.
Can you just call us back? And, but I
We got a quorum.
And so if not Friday, then the next is Monday.
You have CRA.
Is that Monday? Did we get the quorum for Monday? We did, right? Okay,
Yeah, there is a Monday, there is a meeting on the 9th. I mean, the
the
8th.
8th. At what time? We have quorum for that,
6:30.
at 6:30. Do we wanna do before or after CRA?
Listen, how many meetings we done had, Mayor?
Yeah.
37?
You wanna
37?
You wanna do Monday before CRA? I mean, it's a couple items.
Whatever works for this board. Whatever,
Yeah,
works.
Monday.
As long as it's not a 10. Whatever works for this board, I'm good.
5 o'clock, cause CRA is 6:30.
We have to make sure that we communicate with them. Whether it's Shepherd or whether it's.
Okay, so it's Monday at 5 o'clock, work for the board. That worked for me. Work for you? Monday at 5? Vice Mayor?
I don't, I have no
Do
problem.
we have a quorum?
We do have.
Okay.
Monday at 5, Ms. King.
Mayor, council, I just went outside and talked with Attorney Jackson in reference to resolution 2026-27. He's asking that you withdraw his name out of that nomination.
That is order. Thank you.
This students come back.
All right, Pete. I think you kind of defeat the purpose, Mayor.
Give me 1
To
second.
have that meeting.
Yes, Madam Clerk.
That would be my question for the special meeting on Monday at 5. I know I'm bringing back items through 2 through 5. Will there be another recommendation for it?
I would like to give Councilwoman Jordan the opportunity to discuss this as intended tonight. I will leave that up to her, whether or not she wants to submit.
I'm good, yo.
Or if any other member of this board wants to submit a name in the
I will,
interim.
I will. Y'all will.
So then we can leave it on there and then I'll have the budget. And Councilman Mack, if you can get
Yeah, I got
the
it.
clerk to pass that information down the pipeline. Or if any other council member has an interim name that they want to throw in the pot.
Yeah, definitely do.
We are ready for reports. Madam Clerk.
Just a reminder that the Bruce and Winnie Mount Scholarship is open. We only received 1 application today. If you know of anyone who is interested in applying to the scholarship, please encourage them to submit application. Also, for those who were running candidates for the 2026 town election, whether you were elected or not, Your closeout report is due Friday. So we need to get that into the clerk's office. That's all I have.
Thanks, PAO.
Mayor and council, this has been a lot. Someone once said, the lie is cheap, but the correction is expensive. The lie is cheap, but the correction is expensive. I've been looking at a lot of things and just evaluating. And I've heard it tonight that, dignity and respect, that's a two-way street. Something in the military was taught me, you treat everybody with dignity and respect. And it seems like we're going forward, we're going backwards, going to the side. So something I've been evaluating a lot is just looking at our logo. If you look at the logo, everybody's going in the same direction. Everybody's going in the same direction. But it feels like right now that we're in different parts of direction. And I said all that to say is when we talk about tilling the land, when you go through and you till the land, that means you're going through and you're preparing it for planting those seeds, those crops, but it has to be systematic. It has to be an approach to it. You can't have some of us out there planting collard greens and then the other person throwing corn into the same hole. If not, you're gonna have confusion. You're gonna have some problems. And as a good farmer, you would know which one to go first and then next, because you want to be able to turn that crop around to have your next harvest to come. So I just wanted to tell us that we just really got to just focus on, I think so many times we get distracted by other things instead of just staying the course. With that being said, we received an email on, and I'm just going to address it, I'm not going to say who it's from. We received an email about, and council, you all are aware of it, about furniture in the lobby, police cars and all that. The person says, if it is used as a resident, I'm appalled and embarrassed. They said financially destitute. If this is any indication how you govern our community, then we in serious trouble. The person said, I noticed that we allowed the donation or purchase of old used police vehicles from other law enforcement agencies. Secondhand, hand-me-down equipment tells everyone that Eatonville is poor and that is shameful. I thought about this for a while, and I did acknowledge, because I don't have to create a public record. I can just acknowledge. I don't have to respond back to you and create a public record. But I will say for the record about furniture, and anyone who understands government, anyone who understands business, the use of surplus or refurbished furniture is a widely accepted and fiscally responsible practice among municipalities of all sizes, not an indicator of financial distress. It said funds saved through such acquisitions are redirected toward essential services that directly benefit our residents, including public safety, infrastructure, and community programs. Now let's talk about these vehicles. At one point, we had someone who was in administration turn back 15 police cars that was brand new, say that we didn't need them. But then on the other hand, we're taking secondhand police cars and all that. I have facts, and Vice Mayor has been saying tonight, not a feeling, but facts. And the fact says that the acquisition of surplus law enforcement vehicles is a standard and widespread practice among Florida municipalities. In fact, Orange County and dozens of Florida cities and counties regularly participate in surplus equipment programs, allowing agencies to obtain needed vehicles at little to no cost to taxpayers.
Thank you, Chief.
Currently, there are nearly 5,000 active surplus auctions across Florida at any given time, reflecting how normalized practice is statewide. New police patrol vehicles can cost anywhere between $35,000 and $55,000 each. For a small municipality like Eatonville, acquiring even 2 or 3 surplus vehicles in serviceable condition can save taxpayers anywhere from $70,000 to $165,000 in funds that can be applied to staff, service, or capital improvements that are visible to our residents every day. I had to address that issue because we have outliers of people that's trying to deflect and cause confusion in this town. And I think, as Ms. Mount Powell said earlier, it's time for us to stand up and start pushing forward. People have had their time and their opportunities to do things. And I'll just give you this analogy. Back in the day, we used to use the bull called Johnny to go out there and till the land. Now we use John Deere. Times have changed, y'all. We can't keep saying what we did 20-some years ago. That's why we in the position we in right now. I went to a conference last week with other city and county administrators, and everybody's talking about the same thing. And then everybody was talking about agitators, people that just trying to keep stuff going instead of giving to the real root and giving suitable solutions and not taking up our time. I've had many conversations with many of you all about how we just got to move forward and do the right thing. So I just want to address that issue. The other thing is the audit is still in full effect. We should be finalizing that soon, Ms. Gibson. Budget. We're in budget right now. We're in budget right now. We started June 1st. So nobody can say I'm micromanaging or anything. I have told our department heads, if they don't come with supporting documents, I will not put it on the budget. Because we got to talk about what's right. A prime example of that is talking about the bill that's trying to go through with property taxes. If I tell you right now, if that bill go through, there's 6 municipalities. This ain't secondhand information, and I'll get you all a copy. 6 municipalities gonna lose complete funding. 6. There's about another 20 to 25 that's gonna lose 90% of their budgets. And I'm talking about upwards of $9.6 million. $9.6 million. That's bigger than our whole budget. But we're around here being deflected by other things instead of looking at the root cause of how we're going to do better. So I just want everybody to just open up to that. The personnel policy, we've been reflecting to the personnel policy. It's being updated right now. The person is updating it. I talked to her on yesterday. In that personnel policy, it's like 160 some pages that was inserted in, taken out. We don't know what it is, but it's being corrected. And somebody said earlier, over 20 years. So we right here criticizing people, how come stuff not getting done? We're working on 20-year-old policies that should have been updated as we go along. One part of the policy, she stated to me, has already been updated in the state 4 times in the last 10 years. And this thing about our policy is 20 years old. So we got bigger things to do. I'm gonna encourage Councilwoman Jordan, I know, and you probably gonna say it in your report, classes and training. If I recommend to anybody on the board, in other boards, staff is known now, they have to be going to class. They got to get continued education. Because if you're not getting continued education, you're failing us. So I'm expecting that everybody's gonna be going on the staff side to trainings and getting the information. I'm still waiting on from you all legislative objectives. In order for us to properly do a budget, I need legislative objectives from you all to be able to properly plan in the budget. Some people ask, the RP did go out for legal and the magistrate. There has been no hits so far. It's out on demand star. So we'll see what that leads to. I do need to poll all you all a quorum to see when would you all like to have this retreat. I think that's going to be essential for us to move forward. We need to go ahead and have this retreat so we can understand roles and we can work through scenarios that's going on. And last, Matt, you asked me to address the police department. The information that was provided was what we thought was the recommendation that you all said that we need to bring people up to certain salaries. If that's not it, I'll take any recommendations from you all and we can bring it back at a further point. And that ends my report.
Councilwoman Randolph.
I'm gonna bypass tonight. Thank you all very much for coming out.
Councilman Mack.
Yes, thank everybody for coming out this evening and engaging in our business. I know it don't always look good up here, but at the same time, we got business to take care of. We're gonna have different of opinion. That's why it's 5 people sitting up here versus 4. In the other, even but we got different of opinion, right? But anyways, I can do to anybody that have suffered any loss, whether it's far or near. My heart goes out to anybody that have suffered any loss, especially in this community. Eatonville. Also, I would like to thank all the presentations that was presented tonight, especially on Dr. Phillips Foundation. I'm not completely happy with the source of everything that's taking place with that. And like I told them, I don't fault them. I fault other people, but I'm not going to get into all the names that I wanna, involve, but, hopefully we can move down to that different path and, changing the, trajectory on how we do business in our town also. I've been sitting up here 10 years, and that's all you hear is the same old, you know. We get up here and we say what we're gonna do, and then we don't do it, and then this happens, and it is what it is. At the end of the day, I think we all gotta collectively come together and have the collaboration to wanna do better as a community. You know what I'm saying? Especially being the oldest black municipality in America. And everything that we're dealing with that's coming down the pipeline, especially what they're trying to do up in Tallahassee with this tax. Do we have a profound source of what we're gonna do if that does happen? You know what I'm saying? That's the question that need to be had also, especially being the one that, runs the day-to-day operation as a CAO. I expect so much from you holding that capacity on where you sit at, because it's a great responsibility and holding that seat. So, hopefully we can go down the path of, creating something that's gonna be for the benefit of our town, especially from a tax base perspective. I think we should have got ahead of this a long time ago versus sitting here waiting to see what they're gonna do. We can't sit here and wait. We gotta be proactive about everything that we do in this community. So also I got my annual clean out, and also Miss Jasmine Reese, who used to be an employee all the time. I appreciate her coming and doing her presentation. If anybody want to get about, I don't know the exact date. Mr. Danny, pretty sure you can June 9th, participate in that. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate her coming back, and I want to get back to the community as well. And also my cleanup day is going to be taking place on this Saturday. If anybody is not aware, what we're going to be doing is we're going to have our trash venue, which is Waste Pro, come around and do a couple of rounds and pick up any bulk or anything that you guys want to throw outside of your home, whether it's interior, exterior, that you want to get rid of. So it'll basically be something that you don't want around your house or in your house. And it's also going to bring hurricane preparedness, which is something that's going to be presented by Chief. I appreciate him partnering with me with doing the hurricane, which started yesterday. The hurricane season started yesterday, so I think it's going to be very important that we get out and get educated on how we need to carry ourselves during the hurricane season, which ends in November. So if anybody's interested, I'm looking for any volunteer that want to come out. We're going to start at 9 a.m. right here at Town Hall. We're going to go up until about 1. We're going to have lunch around by noon. We're going to have Willie Steve's on the 1 and 2, entertaining us with music. Of course, we got 4 cars at Eatonville, and what we normally do is we drop each group off at each quad and have them clean for probably about an hour, bring them back, kind of get refreshed, have our talk, and then we'll have lunch for all the volunteers. And after we do that, we'll go ahead and get out of here. So it's normally real short and sweet. Public Works does a great job of keeping the community clean, so we don't have to do a whole lot. So thank you, Ms. Brandon, for always being attentive to that also. And also we got the bike ride, which is this Saturday. Also, it's a lot of different things going on with the Bicycle Life Club, which is presented by the Stanleys. They do a sensational job with just showing their leadership in our community. They had an awesome time with the Impact Bike event that they had last week. I do apologize that I couldn't be in there, but I had death in the family and I had to go to a funeral. So please forgive me for not being there, but I heard it was a really good turnout. And I appreciate y'all and the organization for, doing all the things that you do in our community with the bike ride. And also, we're going to be having the 1887 first night market that's going to be presented by Mr. Julian Johnson. And this will be his last time having it in that town hall. So I encourage anybody that want to come out and be involved in that. You have tons of things that you can come out to the community. They have the face painting for the kids. They have the live music. They got clothes, shoes, you name it, they got it. So if you guys are not doing anything, it's kid friendly. So come out here and bring your family. You know what I'm saying? It's a great event if you guys have never been. So I encourage anybody to come out here, and it starts at 4 p.m. and I think it ends like 9 p.m. So if anybody want to do something on Saturday that is not doing nothing, come out, please. And also I talked about this already. It's important. We got to really be focused on this bill that they're trying to potentially pass up with that tax bill. Mr. Daniels explained it best. It can hurt us tremendously. So be mindful of everything that's in front of us. And I got to say this. And listen, I'm the most respectful guy you're gonna see, but I'm not dealing with respect. And I know respect is given until it's not earned, right? So if you are a sitting staff member or potential staff member, especially when no one's did anything to put you in the capacity of being disrespectful, we gotta be mindful. I got a very serious problem with somebody disrespecting me, especially if I've never disrespected you. And then you wanna sit here and wanna sit in the capacity of a position that checks that outside. I'm not comfortable with that. You know, sometimes a closed mouth is the best thing, you know, but me as a legislator, I gotta run my mouth up here. I gotta seek the opportunity to get the opinion from people that have concerns and problems in this community. That's what I do. And I feel like I solve a lot of problems that people do have concern about. But one thing I'm not gonna tolerate is disrespect. I don't care who you are, period. And I'm not gonna tolerate anybody to disrespect anybody that sit up here on this panel with me either. Because if they do, you're gonna know about it. And also, I came and asked the question, do we have any lawsuits? Because we don't have a legal counsel sitting here. And that'll be the best person for me to ask, but she's not here. And I'm hoping everything is fine with her kid because she had to leave on emergency. And I have no problem with her. Let's make that known. I have no problem with Ms. Fisher. Only problem I have is the disrespect that she showed towards me, and it seems only towards me. And I don't want to seem like it's biased because I'm the only man sitting here, so I deflect from, even thinking anything like that. But off the dribble, she was immediately disrespectful, blatantly disrespectful towards me for whatever reason. I don't know where that came from, but I want to be able to help people. I'm not in the capacity of getting rid of people or want to get rid, especially when you're a mother. You know what I'm saying? But if you're gonna sit here and act like you don't care about my concerns on how I feel and how I want to sit here and govern and legislate and be disrespectful towards me, and I ain't did nothing to you, I got a very serious problem with that. But with that being said, if all hearts and minds are clear, that's my report.
Councilman, I will answer the question for you. You asked if there's something legal. There is something that's going through the process. We did receive a letter on the other day. I will not say on record what it is. And good practice, it's not good to talk about legal issues in an open forum like this. So if you want to contact me tomorrow, we can talk about it. But we do have something that we need to respond to within 15 days, and that has been given to Attorney Shepherd. I will tell you that this situation has been going on since May 14th of 2025.
Okay, sounds good. I appreciate that, man. Thanks a lot. And all the other questions that I have, Daniels, I will contact you, send you an email, or call you personally while we can discuss. Thank y'all. That's my report.
Awesome. Thank you guys for coming out and participating in our town hall meetings. I really do appreciate it. And to hunger for it, hopefully they'll reach out to myself or you, CEO James or Madam Mayor, in terms of things that we're requesting. And also, you're absolutely right, CEO Daniels, classes and training. Education is something that is near and dear to my heart. Personally, I'm sitting here. I would like the opportunity. I missed an opportunity, which is coming up this weekend, and I'm not happy about it, which we've had a conversation. So hopefully it will right itself down the line. And also, thank you to the Stanleys in terms of the impact ride. So it was a very good turnout from what I could see. And just, looking forward to more of those things coming down the line. And on next week, June the 10th, I invite you all to come to the Eatonville Coffee Chamber break. And that is something else I'd like to have conversations with in terms of the town renewing its membership with the chamber. We had been members in the past. I'm not sure where that is, or we need to speak to in terms of seeing that that can continue. I think that the Eatonville Chamber plays an integral part to the town of Eatonville and things that we do here. And I'd like to see us have more participation in that organization, and that is my report. Vice Mayor,
Good evening. Quick to the point. Retreat, policy procedures, Florida League of Cities. This is not a debate group, and that we are not a group of jurors that we need to keep hearing this back and forth, back and forth. If you want to argue, debate, you got plenty of time to do it somewhere. Have respect, not just for the residents, but for this board. To go back and forth and we say the same thing hours and hours, and we're in the middle of a motion, very disrespectful. Thank you for the biking event. I really enjoyed that. Councilwoman Jordan, maybe, CL, you can, on something that she just addressed, can you please have the attorney speak with her? She's new, so these classes will help her. So let's please make sure that she knows. And don't wait until she says something. Make sure she know. And if she don't know, Florida League of Cities is a good place for her to learn these things. So don't put us, and when I say us, it's any of these council members in a position that we may say something that we should not be saying at a proper time. That's my point.
Good evening, residents, staff, friends. Thank you for the reminder about the closing election reports, Madam Clerk. That is extremely important. Those people will find you quick, and those fines are not small. So let us be mindful, those of us who that affects, to get that information to the clerk timely. Can we please get a printed copy of the Dr. Phillips presentation? It looked like it was the former presentation that was placed in front of us tonight. I know that they brought something with them that we didn't have, so if we can get our eyes on it. I'm a note taker. I would like to have a copy of that if possible, and if we can make sure that the entire council gets that for their records. Definitely in favor of the retreat sooner than later. I mean, like, get some dates within the next 30 days. I know we've been talking about that. We rolling up on the first quarter of a new administration. So for the sake of aligning and syncing some of our goals and some of our operations, if we can get pulled for that as soon as scheduled for that as soon as possible, that would be appreciated. There were a few activities that we just enjoyed, that we've heard about. The impact ride was huge. I mean, I think a lot of us have been to the bike rides. It was like the bike ride on steroids. It was super fun. It was so diverse. There were so many wonderful things that were out there. There was a huge mental health conversation and panel, which was, I think it's Mental Health Awareness Month. Last month was Mental Health Awareness Month, so perfect timing for that. Shout out to my classmate, Mr. Thompson, for collaborating with our beloved Life Cycle Club to bring us such an amazing opportunity. I tried to get on with the boot. It didn't work. I will miss Saturday. I'll probably be standing outside the house waving as y'all go by. But I'm very much in line for July. So again, thank you, Life Cycle Club, for your contribution to the health and wellness of this community. It just seems to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and we appreciate that. Miss Furless, hey, y'all better not block her driveway no more. That being said, I know that there were a number of promotions on our, this is for Mr. Daniels, there was a number of promotions on our socials and in our lobby. I think we need to get back to the door-to-door in the water bill disbursement so that residents are prepared for events that are coming up and can make accommodations as needed for such very nice, very large events that we do want to continue to see in the town of Eatonville. Another event that we just had was a CRA giveaway. I know Councilman Mack and myself were there. Thank you to the CRA. Thank you to Mr. Nix and Mr. and Mrs. Nichols, who came back for a second time to run it back. I know they were here. I think it was Thanksgiving they were here, and they came back. There were a number of vendors out there with a ton of free resources. I got a couple bags of candy. I got a couple toothbrushes and free boxes of toothpaste. It was some blankets and stuff that were hand knitted out there. It was a bunch of resources available to the community. Thank you very much to the CRA and staff for that. Another promoted event that I know a few residents were not aware of. I know that there was some promotions on our socials and in our lobby. So if we can just, push to make sure our residents are aware and able to take advantage of those opportunities is something that I definitely want to see. That being said, we are, one more thing. You want to sneak it in?
Yes, I know. If we could make the phone calls like we used to, and then I know that Councilman Mack not everybody do social media. How can we get these out to these residents by time? Is there, so is there a way we could pass these out so they would know, even though we say it here?
I'm a boots on the ground type of guy, so.
I ain't say put it in Waterville. I said, how can we get, and then, you know, how we used to make those phone calls, and we need to go back to doing that again.
Yes, ma'am. That being said, another announcement, and I'll end with this, is Juneteenth. The town is hosting the festival this year in the Hungerford Field on Saturday. There are a number of Juneteenth events that will be happening in the town. Check out our socials for promotions of those events. I know Macedonia is hosting some events, the library is hosting some events. There are some community organizations that are hosting some events. Be on the lookout. Check the lobby, check our socials to see what is going on. We will be spreading word via word of mouth. We will be door to door. I'll probably be out with my boot, knocking on doors myself to invite the community out to celebrate with us. But from the town side, the town is taking on the festival this year. I'm very excited about it. It will be family friendly. I absolutely promise. Ton of vendors, ton of entertainment, ton of resources that will be available. It's a free event, so pop on out and bring a friend. We scheduled and slated to have some fun, aren't we, Chief? All right, that being said, all hearts and minds satisfied, I move for adjournment. It has been moved and second, all in favor of adjourning, signify with aye. It is 10:21, yet we are adjourned.
Oh, boy, hey, I don't even think I'm gonna fit. I just gotta go.